Hello, one and all. We are here for some more AOEsports. Welcome back. I am Opara. We are here for Season 13, Stage 3, Week 2 of the AAOL presented by AOEsports. I am here with the lovely Harry B.
Thank you. You're quite good looking yourself there, Opara. Yes, we're here for AAOL. This is a 10-week tournament split into 3 stages. And for the first time, each stage is a 5-week round robin. It's the largest OCE Overwatch tournament with 50 plus teams. We're currently in our 13th season, and it's for an individual or team sign up as well. You can join the Discord with the website. See links down below. And overall, the matchups tonight looking pretty fire, Opara. Looking pretty fire.
Yeah, we got 2 incredible matches lined up for us tonight. Our first game of the night, we're going to be looking at Wendigo versus Forget Me Not. And then a bit later on, we'll be looking at Shadow Reaper versus Tropical Thunder. So we've got 2 really exciting games. I think it's going to be a good night, all in all. What about yourself, Harry?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a really good night. I think we're actually starting off with Forget Me Not and Wendigo here.
Yep.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the players on this map, especially the Koalas Esports team. Obviously, no bias here at all.
Not at all.
But there are certain players on here that I'm almost ready to just get into because it is such a great looking lineup. As we can see, we have Wendigo here to start off. Though we've got Wesker on the main tank role, Keck on the off tank. We've got Somnuts on the hit scan DPS, Remnu on the projectile DPS, Fable on that main support role, and Jackson on the aim support. And really, you're looking towards your DPSs here. They've highlighted the Widow and the Hanzo, both massively individual playstyle heroes here. You're looking towards them to pop off if they're looking towards more of those style of compositions.
And then, of course, on the wonderful KE Forget Me Nots, we've got some great players lined up for you guys tonight. We have, I believe we've actually got Knives coming in with Deathcraft on the tank, both opting to run for the tank tonight. Then we've got Vorbis and Dr. Forth going to be our DPS main and hitscan DPS. And then finally, of course, we have the lovely Vibes Fusion versus DZ Intra on the support role. And of course, you know, Koalas Esports, they're who run this stream. We're very excited to be watching them play here in our first Div 7 game. They have been around for 4 months, most of this team, and it's the first season of AAOL for them. However, DZ Intra and Vorbis used to be on KE Durf, so that's going to be really fun to watch these sort of players who have been on teams together coming through, rocking it. And I think we want to look out for I Love Knives on their flanking Reinhardt. However, let's run through the map pool very quickly. Starting off, we have Lijiang Tower for the night, and then we'll move into a hybrid, the loser's pick of either King's Row or Eichenwald, and then we will jump into an escort for Rialto or Junkertown. If we need it, we've got the assault maps of Hanamura or Temple of Anubis, once again, Winter Hanamura, just for the fun of it. And then if we really need it, Nepal for a control map, and if somehow we end up needing a tiebreaker, we got Busan hiding away in the back line there.
Yeah, most definitely. That map pool is, honestly, this might be my favorite map pool of AAOL to date. I think it's really, it encourages a lot of composition variations within the teams. Also, just a little bit of a fun fact for LAG Wendigo. Eggy, I always mispronounce his name. Eggy blows a kiss to the team as a token of good luck. And their mascot for the team is Eggy in his maid outfit. So take that as you will. Take that as the inspiration that they may need. But most definitely, I think at the current moment, Lijiang Tower might favor the side of Forget Me Not, just due to the compositions or just due to the heroes selections that we saw from the preview right there.
Absolutely right. It's I think with some of those hero picks, especially if they're going to be running things like Wrecking Ball, you might see a bit of stalling on the ball, just trying to build up that time bank, that point percentage to 99%. A lot of stall might be coming through, and I mean realistically, if you've got flanking Reinhardts coming through, that's going to be fun.
That is the main tank dream right there, getting into the back line.
Yeah, exactly right. Getting backline, doing that beautiful shatter, but I mean, it's all up in the air right now. I think it's quite cool looking at some of these favorite heroes. They kind of line up a little bit. Both teams have Wrecking Ball as one of their favorite heroes. We've also got quite a few snipers, Widow for Somnuts, but Ash for Haku. So if that does happen, that could be interesting to see line up.
Yeah.
So that could be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to the Cassidy play, actually, especially on Lijiang. Almost all of the maps are great for Cassidy. It's a great range for the Cowboy there. He can do so much damage, and it's just really good sustained damage, really good reliability. And if they are playing that Wrecking Ball, it's just another CC option to stop that. So I think the Cassidy play, you might see Vorbis play a lot of it in this first map. I think that'll be key to the success of either team.
Absolutely right. Cassidy is key, especially getting stuns. Stuns are very important. But also, Cassidy works really well at protecting backline. The Arnas, the Mercies, even the Lucio. So that could be critical when Bull's trying to come and help out to the supports there. It could be very important.
Most definitely. Have you ever played Ball against an Arna, Brig, McCree? It's water. You get flashed by the flashbang, you get stunned by the Brig, you get slept, you get naded. It's over. You're done. You swap off Ball.
Yeah.
Most people just go hog.
It's a pretty classic. I'm not allowed to play Ball here, especially if a May comes out as well. Then you're why am I even on this map?
why did I load in?
Yeah, exactly right. It's gonna be pretty exciting to watch here. We're just getting some of the teams ready. It sounds like there's just a wee mic issue at the moment. So as these teams get ready, up and running, we're gonna be able to watch some really exciting gameplay. Starting off Lijiang Tower, what do you think a first comp would be run on Lijiang Tower there, Harry?
I think this will vastly depend on what stage we go to. So if we go to Gardens, for example, I think we may see more of a Wrecking Ball style composition come out, but we may also see the Winston Rush come out with the Sombra and the Reaper, which we've seen a lot in the higher division games. So maybe just copying those strategies for lower division games as well might see a lot of use there as well. If we start off on something like Control Center, I'm expecting to see the double spam, the Sim, the Junkrat, the Sigma, the Reinhardt, the Lucio, and the Baptiste. And you can kind of see the Symmetra again on Night Market as well, where you just teleport in. We may also see some Doomfist. It's been being played a little bit more recently, but I do not think so. I think we'll see more stick with the Sim and the Junk for especially Control Center.
Yeah, I think that key character you talked about could be Symmetra coming out. We've been seeing a lot of Symmetra, teleporting up into that window, getting onto point really quickly. It's a key strategy, and whoever gets onto point first tends to dominate, especially looking back at some of the Ascent games we've watched and some of the past AAOL games. So I think you're right there. And yeah, Doomfist has been played a whole lot recently. Doomfist has literally been rolling through teams and just making it so hard for people to play. When you can go and initiate, take out the supports, take out one of the DPSs, it's so critical. So, if we do see, yeah, it's very scary. I do not enjoy running into them in my quick play games.
No, but he's really good against the Symmetra because he just ignores everything and he just goes through. He just goes through all the shields, and he can get that insta-kill potential, as we see that it is Gardens as our first map.
Yeah, starting off on Gardens. I'm expecting, if both teams are liking the Wrecking Ball, I am expecting to see it. We might even see a little bit of Lucio here, but a little bit of Classic can be run, the Rein Zarya. And yeah, here we go. Wixa and Kiki are opting for that Rein Zarya comp here, and a bit of Pharmacy as well on the side of Wendigo, which that could put a lot of pressure onto Forget Me Not and their comp. I mean, they've got a bit of dive, Winston, Wrecking Ball. It'll be interesting to see how these two comps clash. We're now actually seeing a Diva Reinhardt as well.
We're seeing the Vorbis Genji. Just looking at this, it looks like Rem is just going to be able to get a lot of free time as we see them just going straight over the bridge right there. It's actually a free pop onto the Diva Bridge they're going to be able to fly back on. So we see them dive into the backline now and the pod over. That's so much pressure on that backline, but they're able to sustain through it for a while. However, Keck gets demeched and Vorbis manages to find Wexer. Deathcraft manages to find Baby Diva. Keck going down. Vorbis finds EG Fan. And that is going to be the first fight pretty quickly going over to the side of KE Forget Me Not.
That was an incredible dive by Forget Me Not. Vorbis dashed in, I Love Knives pile drived, and then Deathcraft just jumped in, and it put so much pressure onto Keki and onto Jacko Norm that whilst the heals were good, just wasn't enough. And so really incredible communication coming through by Forget Me Not.
Yeah, most definitely. It's kind of like clockwork, isn't it? As we see I Love Knives almost fall off the map, but just barrel through the rest of the team. That has to be so annoying as a brawl composition. Just having this Wrecking Ball go through, but Wexer with a straight fire strike manages to find 5 fusions, but Fable goes down to Deathcraft. EG Fan with a flashbang actually finds DZ end drop, but Vorbis with a double dash gets in, find Wexer and EG Fan on that Cassidy. Keck does find Deathcraft, but throughout all this, Dr. Forth has been left alone, manages to find 2, and that is the end of the fight. Still, KE Forget Me Not in control.
Yeah, I Love Knives is putting in a lot of work. There's just a lot of poke everywhere, and whilst the healing is coming through, because of this pharmacy comp, it's all down to Jacko Norm to try and keep the team alive, and it's just not enough. And because of that, Vorbis just got a really good dash. And like you said, the dash sort of unlocked it for Forget Me Not to continue this defense. So if they keep it up, it could be really hard for Wendigo.
Yeah, most definitely. They also don't really have any sustained healing. I mean, the Mercy and the Vamp doesn't really give enough. As we see the Dragon Blade come out here. Big Shadow, though, coming down. Actually kind of shuts that down. But Vorbis still manages to find EG Fan. Rem comes in with a barrage and manages to find I Love Knives. But I Love Knives put the minefield down before and found Fable. Dr. Forth managed to pick up a kill in that as well. And it's a team wipe. That would just happen so quick. I couldn't even keep up.
Dr. Forth got the kill because they got nanoed accidentally. The nano blade didn't happen. Vorbis didn't get it, but Vorbis put in the work anyway with that blade, and it looks like Wendigo are just rushing on in.
Yeah, and I think this is a swap that needed to happen earlier. Rem going over to the Reaper. Huge 89 coming through, though. Wexer goes down immediately. EG Fan just find Vorbis and moving on to the point with the window in tow. Beat coming out now on the side of 5 Fusion and a high noon now from EG Fan, trying to catch up anyone, trying to find any sort of kills. But Rem gets the purple and is taken down by DZ Entra. Fable trying to get that resurrect right in the face to the monkey right there. Almost goes down, but doesn't quite exactly. Dr. Forth did find EG Fan. Fable eventually goes down to Dr. Forth, but REM found Deathcraft. Now it's just a fight on the point. Wexer did find DZ Entra. A huge shadow coming out now, manages to find 3. Wexer gets I Love Knives, but goes down to Dr. Forth. It is a 2v4 point. Dr. Forth finds Jacko Norm, and that is going to be the point going over to KE Forget Me Not. Great first round from them.
We have to talk about how much work Dr. Forth just put in there on Sombra, initiating that push with an EMP to slow down them rushing through that sort of hallway, and then on top of that, hacked Cassidy out of the Deadeye, making sure that Cassidy wasn't going to be able to get any picks, and then just picked off Cassidy, picked off Fable on Mercy, and then from there it was just, even though Wexer got the good shatter, even though the picks were coming through, there was minefields coming out. The fight was so even that Dr. Forth's value was just huge.
Yeah, it was really, really big. He was just kind of left alone. And the longer you leave Sombra alone, the more value she gets. As we see mirror compositions now coming out. I say mirror, but there's a doofus on the side of Vorbis. So we do get to see the fabled doofus as he walks in. It's going to be the Reaper. We see the immortality field used straight away, but I Love Knives wasn't able to get onto it. EG Fan takes them out. DZ Entra gets taken out by Rem, and Rem actually just finds 3 straight away. EG Fan finds Vorbis, and just like that, the fight is basically over. 5 Fusions throws themselves off the map. And that is just going to be a team wipe. Wendigo finding a bit of life in the start of this round.
You mentioned that the swap was too late. Rem going onto the Reaper was such a smart play. It just puts so much pressure, and especially now that we're looking at Ryan Zarya here now as well. Reaper is going to be able to build up ultimate really well. So hopefully Rem is going to be able to just give Wendigo a little bit of life here on this next map as we see a teleporter straight onto point.
Yeah, I don't like this move. They've swapped over to the fire, they teleport straight over to the point. Shadow actually does find Dr. Fourth, so they're going to go down. EGFan did find DZ Entra because the immortality field was used so early and Borvis is just on point. That's not where you're meant to be as a fire, that's a team kill. That happened so quickly, 33%. I mean, the only good thing about this for Forget Me Not is that you're losing these fights so quickly, you still have a ton more to go. As we see a swap on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, that at least the point percentage isn't going up too quickly, and I think that teleporter, whilst it had good intentions, it just wasn't good enough. Huge boulder onto Farah in the sky.
Yeah, that was a great boulder. We see the power driver come in, and we see the beat and the symbol actually used because they felt under pressure. Symbol now coming out from Dr. Fourth here as they're trying to push in with all the pressure here. Huge shadow comes out, but he gets pinned away from the kill. They're unable to pick up the Lucio there, but I Love Knives is the only person who falls for Forget Me Not as we see Borbas coming over the top with the barrage. He found Jacko Norm without it anyway. Ren went down. Deathcraft found EG-Fan. The Resurrect and I Love Knives mean they're back at full fighting force as they capture this point.
Vorbis putting in a lot of work there. The Shadow sort of unlocked that fight for Forget Me Not, but Vorbis just got so many confirmed kills, not only with the rocket barrage, but just with consistent shots that you just have to give Vorbis a lot of credit there for being able to get that fight capped pretty quickly in what seemed like a pretty desperate fight.
Yeah, as we see the Graviton blocks coming out, but Deathcraft actually used a minefield in the back line. No one else can follow up on it. Keck doesn't really need the follow-up help, so he found two by himself in the no mortality field. Well timed, saves him for quite a while, but we now see the Valkyrie coming out. Deathcraft rolling back in and actually boosts EG-Fan into the mines there. Deathcraft finds Keck as well. Deathcraft has been an absolute tear on this Wrecking Ball this round so far. They need to find a way to shut him down quickly, as that looks like the fight is in favor of Forget Me Not again.
Yeah, that minefield was perfectly placed. Split up the team, made it that kick, even though they got a good flux, couldn't get the follow-up, and then really struggled to keep them alive, even with an immortality trying to save them.
Yeah, really early window right there. We see the barrage come out, but it's a trade, 2 for 2. And we see the Shadow now, just onto Dizzy Entra. That actually might be a fight saver here for the side of Wendigo. They take out the aim support right there, and they're going to be able to start moving their way towards the point. They still have their back teeth. They're still able to keep healthy, but Borbas is trying to change that. Borbas comes in with the barrage, takes out both supports, and of Knives takes out Wexer. This fight was looking so good for Wendigo, but it's turned around. EG-Fan does find Borbas and Vibes Fusion, and is now on the point, getting that double flashbang on there. It's a 2v1, but EG-Fan cannot win that. There's too much HP to melt through.
I respect trying it, but that's so much time going the way of Forget Me Not now. It's going to be stressful to try and push in together as a team, especially when your Cassidy is coming back from spawn. It's really going to put a lot of pressure on Wendigo right now.
Yeah, can anyone touch? We're going to see a try here from Fable as he actually gets onto point. They actually just charge straight in. They get onto I Love Knives. I Love Knives with the Shadow. Pins both himself and Wexer off the map. That could prove costly, but it doesn't really look like it. His team seems to be backing it up. Dr. Four takes out Fable and Keke and Jacko as well. And Rem. That's a 4K for the Symmetra, beaming down their opponent. And Forget Me Not takes map 1.
Forget Me Not looking strong there. I mean, the Symmetra turrets were set up perfectly that it put so much pressure on anyone who was trying to enter in. And then on top of that, like, yeah, now you're going to see this play of the game come through just from really good Symmetra turret positioning and shadows. Like, I'm really impressed by the Symmetra play here by EG-Fan. And so I think these Symmetra plays are going to be crucial, especially when you watch something like Lijiang Tower and control map. So if we do go back to another control map, that could be pretty critical coming later on into the match. But so far, Forget Me Not's looking so strong, especially considering Wrecking Ball getting really good mine hearts. I Love Knives putting in a lot of work on the Reinhardt as well. I've got to say, Wendigo, they've got a mission on their sleeves right now.
Yeah, they do. But what do you do as Wendigo against that composition for Forget Me Not? Because you've never seen that. You've surely never gone into a scrim and seen someone play Pharmacy, Wrecking Ball, Reinhardt, Ana, and Symmetra. Like, it doesn't make sense as a composition to run into. It doesn't synergize well, but they made it work. So it has to be communication from Forget-Me-Not that's really bringing them together to be able to win these maps here. Wendigo did put up a bit more of a fight in that second round, though. So I'm excited to see how they go in the next map as we look like we're moving over to King's Row. Winter form, of course.
And I mean, that's such a classic. There's not really a map choice when King's Row is an option here. Everyone in AAOL and in just AOEsports in general is going to be choosing King's Row. It's a very rare time to not go towards King's Row. And you generally see a lot of the classic, you know, the Ryan Zarya, a lot of that rush style comp trying to run over people, the May Reaper. We've been seeing Doomfist on King's Row as well a lot, so we might see that come out. It'd be interesting for us to see whether Dr. Forth continues the Sombra.
Yeah, I think the Sombra play has been really good from Dr. Forth. In fact, I kind of think he carried that first round of Lijiang just with his well-timed hacks and just his positioning in general. But I mean, I think you look over to Deathcraft on the Wrecking Ball here, and you really have to think that they have been playing extremely well.
Yeah, this tank duo really putting in a lot of work, making themselves known right now as a threat. And when you've got Deathcraft in your backline on the Wrecking Ball, harassing those supports, harassing Iggy Fan, and then I Love Knives right up close and personal, shattering only one or two people. Doesn't have to be giant shatters, but it's enough pressure that it makes it really hard for Wendigo to push. I think even with Rem on that Pharah, and it was a smart play, I think they may have needed to just come together a little bit more.
Yeah, most definitely. And you're right. It isn't the size of the shadow that matters. It's what you do with it. That's an innuendo right there as we're moving into King's Row. I'm expecting to see a lot more Reinhardt play here. I don't think you'll see a lot more of the ball play, although as I say that, I Love Knives just instantly going onto that. Dr. Forth, I admire the attempt, but I don't think we'll be playing Bastion on this map. But again, they're playing the Mercy here. So they're playing Ryan Sigma, McCree Torbjorn, Bat Mercy. And I'm struggling to see what value the Mercy gets. The only thing I can think of is that you're going to try and pocket EG Fan as much as possible, because surely a Lucio would be better value.
Yeah, I think especially running the Reinhardt, Lucio would come through. Maybe they're playing the res game of whilst we're on defense, let's just get as many reses as possible, try to hold it. I like the Torbjorn call. Having turrets set up in tricky locations can just put a lot of pressure onto Forget-Me-Not, but we'll see how they do with this push.
Yeah, well, they're just running a standard brawl comp, the May McCree, Ryan Zarya right here. And this means that they have to play a lot slower for the side of Wendigo. And Forget-Me-Not just looking to take the high ground. This is actually a really nice little rotation, because it means they're going to force the Baptiste off there. And if they can force the Baptiste off there and possibly even get the kill onto it, they should just be able to win this. They're moving around, using the Lucio speed boost very well, actually trying to get an ice wall onto the Baptiste. Didn't exactly work. Good preemptive rotation from Jacko Norm right there, and now they're just kind of stuck here.
Yeah, they're watching what's happening down on the ground, waiting for a push. It'll be interesting to see whether, the Torp turret's been moved actually. I was going to say in that doorway it might put a bit of harassment, but here they go now, pushing in onto the point.
Yeah, pushing in onto the point indeed, and it was eligible to use instantly. That's a very fast shadow, but it didn't really find anything. It went straight into the Sigma wall. But either way, Deathcraft managed to find Wexer, but Fable got the Resurrector Wexer in there. How does that happen? Wexer goes down almost immediately afterwards, as if saying, don't even try to come back. But it's just the May here. The May has so much pressure. EG Fan did actually manage to find Borbus and tried to use the high noon, but got grabbed by Deathcraft. Deathcraft is actually putting on a clinic on this tank roll.
Wow, that was such a back and forth fight. It could have gone any way, but somehow just the tanks coming back. And I really want to just talk about Dezentra and the amount of heals they pumped out. Got an amplification matrix and already halfway to another. So much healing to keep these tanks alive, just to make sure this confirmed fight goes their way and they get the point capture. And it worked perfectly. So much healing, kept the tanks going, kept the DPS getting a couple of picks here and there. And yeah, all in all, that was a point capture.
Yeah, and now we see a swap over to the Widowmaker. I don't like this. I'll be just straight up with it. I don't like the swap to the Widowmaker. I think it means that you lose this frontline war every time it's here. Really fancy rotation. Actually catches out EG-Fam. That was the worst grapple location you could have ever found. We see now the Graviton Flux come up, but who's really going to follow up? As we see the Reinhardt end up on the high grab, trying to touch across. Big shadow now coming across from Wexer. They're trying to clean up these kills, but Wexer might have gotten himself in a little too deep. He seems to be falling very low. Roberts with the high noon right now. Doesn't really find anything, but Deathcraft and I Love Knives are just putting on the work right now as we see Wexer and Keck trying to back up as much as they can, but the window from Dizentra is keeping him alive. As I say that though, EG-Fam does manage to pick up 2 kills, managing to find the Baptiste and the May, but it doesn't really matter. The Blizzard comes out, Deathcraft found 2 more, and that fight just was weird. But nothing else to say about that.
There was so much aggression. Ults were thrown out everywhere. People are just desperately trying to make sure the fight goes their way, but because of this pure aggression, it's making it really hard for Wendigo to try and stay together. And when you lose 1 or 2 picks in a rush-style comp like this, your team is just going to constantly collapse, and that's how Forget-Me-Not got a free push.
Yeah, great wall, actually. Almost catching out Wexer. He manages to get out, but it's a Graviton Surge coming up from Deathcraft. Now they're just trying to swing in. The Immortality Field was unable to save anyone. I Love Knives just cleaving through the team right here. And we see the swap over to double sniper, but they're unable to do anything to match the raw aggression coming out from KE Forget-Me-Not. This is such great tank play and such great synergy coming out from this team.
This is where you talk about the Lucio. Oh, the Shatter! Fire Strike taking out 2, Harry!
Oh, it's just too good. Wexer was able to find I Love Knives, but Keck managed to off themselves somehow there. Fable dies on point, and that is 4 minutes and 10 seconds in the clock for Kings Row. Forget-Me-Not is on a tear right now, and they want you to know about it.
I'm sorry to say it, but I think without that Lucio speed boost, Wendigo was just struggling. You know, they couldn't get back as quickly, and with Forget-Me-Not just rushing you down constantly, you can't escape from that. You can't get away. Sure, Mercy can res you, but you're getting rezzed into this rush of death, and the reses generally collapse just as quickly as they came back. So Fable opted to go to the Lucio at the very last second, but it was a little too late, unfortunately. Hopefully here we can see a little bit of that change. Maybe Fable continues on the Mercy, but hopefully not. Hopefully we see the Lucio come out and just help that rush run through Forget-Me-Not.
Yeah, I also don't really understand. We do see the Lucio, actually, but I also don't understand the DPS swaps there, because it seemed like they didn't know how they wanted to play against it. Like, I don't understand holding that first corner when you're not playing your own Mei, because you're not going to be able to peel for your tanks there. They're just going to get rushed down, which is what we saw. You're not going to be able to do enough frontline damage to try and keep them away. Maybe that's why you're trying to play... Oh, no, I got baited. They're not playing Lucio, they're playing Mercy. Maybe that's why they're playing the Sigma, just for more frontline poke damage.
Yeah, I think so. Sigma throws out so much spam that it's just quite valuable to have that spam. And can absorb some damage, not as much as D.Va, but it's still enough, I feel. This pharmacy pick is interesting to see how they try push through, and let's see how it goes.
It is interesting. They did very smartly avoid that wall there, but now Keck actually manages to get a rock on board, so he just instantly takes it out. That's a great start right there, as you see the counter ping coming out from both teams, and it's just going to be a back and forth slog. Wexer goes down though, but EG-Fam found Dr. Force, and it's so much better. The longer fight for the pharmacy right here, as Rem manages to pick up 5 pieces in the I Love Knives. That was great patient play coming up from Wendigo, and it shows that they do have the communication to do this type of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though I Love Knives was doing so much damage, they've already got Shatter. It wasn't enough, and Rem really just put in the work on that pharmacy. Rem and Fable just showing a really good amount of aggression and good aim. They've been showing it to us so far a lot tonight, and they're keeping it up, which I really like to see.
Yeah, their mechanical skill is not in question at all. They've been playing this extremely well in terms of their mechanics. but it seems to be the teamwork where they're lacking at the moment. They need to keep this type of teamwork up. Great flux right there, gets 4, also has the nano boost and the beat. Huge shadow coming out from Wexel right there. That is just textbook play coming out from the Reinhardt as Rem using the barrage manages to catch 2. Both by fusions and bombers going down. I love Knives used the shadow as well, but only caught Wexel who was saved with the immortality field. And that is just insane gameplay coming out here from the side of Wendigo, and they keep hold of High Noon and their Amp Matrix.
Rem knows the perfect time to use Rocket Barrage, and that is when they're all lying on the ground from Wix's Shatter, and just getting 2 confirmed kills was perfect. Once again, gave them enough aggression that even though I Love Knives popped the Shatter, it wasn't going to get any value there, and then Wixa was able to just charge into Dr. Forth, and no more May on the field. It unlocks the point. Self-destruct coming out.
Yeah, self-destruct coming out, and that's a greatly played self-destruct, and gets a remake kill on Fable as well. That is great play from the Diva of Forget Me Not right there, and that is just a very quick team right there. Wexer actually managed to escape.
Wexer running for their lives right there. I mean, understandable. When you see your team get exploded and then crushed by a mech, I wouldn't want to be in the fight either. So just so quickly get out of there, Wexer. I respect it.
Checker's coming up on his Graviton Flux here, and they are nowhere close to beat right now. It's automatically, it's just straight in there, starting to play with a little bit more swagger almost. As we see the Graviton Flux getting close to coming out. High Noon from Vorvis just keeps them away for a bit. Finds Fable. How does that happen? That cannot happen as the mercy of Wendigo, and that forces them to back out and gives more time for Vibe Fusions to actually build up towards the sound barrier. That is a disastrous push for Wendigo right there.
Yeah, that was such a valuable Deadeye. That takes out Time Bank. That takes out, it gives a little bit more build towards ultimate percentage. However, the ults are looking in favor right now of Wendigo. They've got the Flux. They've nearly got Shatter. They basically got 5 ultimates on board here. So it's Wendigo's fight to lose right now.
Look at this rotation coming out here. They actually just get straight into the back line. They take out Jackanorm instantly, but Ren was there, really with the barrage, and the Graviton Flux is there as well. That is such a quick team ride. I do like the idea from Forget Me Not though, to try and get onto that back line. They knew they were at the ult disadvantage and they tried to rush the fight. It was just really, really well reacted by Rem.
Yeah, and on top of that, the Gravitic Flux picked up the remaining players into the Rocket Barrage. That was nasty. That was so cool to watch. And once again, really good communication. I liked the thought from Forget Me Not, that wrap around, but yeah, the ultimate fight was in the favor and still is a little bit with Application Matrix coming out.
Ooh, great shot from EG there. They actually managed to find 5 fusion. That's no sound barrier available for this window now, so they can just keep trying to spam damage through it as much as they can. They do have a soldier on the off angle right now. Dr. Forth actually gets caught. Great rock from Kek Zami right there. That is an insane gameplay coming out from the Sigma of Wendigo, and they've trapped them in spawn. They're gonna have a worse time bank, but by how much is the question right now. EG Bank gets his head before this can come out. That's a great shot now coming out. Manages to catch I Love Knives. EG fan with a high noon managed to catch Warvis and Wexer found I Love Knives again. Rem, Carrick finding 2 right there. Dr. Forth and Vibes going down. Wexer with Deathcraft. 2 minutes on the clock right now versus 3 minutes. That's really good for Wendigo, considering that on your defense, you were kind of rolled over.
Yeah, Wendigo have to be happy with that time bank, but that minute difference was all made by that high noon from Vorbis that took out the one Mercy. It's incredible to see how one ultimate can make such a change in the fight, because so far through Streets phase, the time banks they were looking very similar, but all because of one Deadeye, one kill, it unlocked it so that Forget Me Not could have a better time bank, and because of that, they have the edge in this fight now. It's gonna be Wendigo trying to push with 2 minutes. They need to try and get a cap as quickly as possible, and they did it pretty quickly with the pharmacy. So if they keep that up, it should be good. However, Vorbis opting for pharmacy as well here. Vibes joining in on the Mercy. Yeah.
It's a duel of fates right here. Actually, Dr. Forth going over onto the May here. This is such a weird composition. What is this? What am I looking at?
Orisa Wrecking Ball. Maybe pulling people into the mines? Maybe that's the strategy. Okay. Well, We'll see how this works. I respect the attempt here. It'll come down to Edgy and Rem trying to snipe this Pharah out of the sky. Vorbis is expecting another Pharah, and it's not coming through just yet. So having this double sniper play could be valuable considering there's a pharmacy up in the sky right now.
Yeah, but look at that. They use the main wall, and Dr. Foot tries to get aggressive, but no one's there because they're playing Orisa and Wrecking Ball. No one can get aggressive with him. That's such a compositional mismatch of ideas right here. As we see, they actually just force Wexer into a corner and break the barrier. He gets frozen up. He's just kind of being bullied over here right now, but he's being constantly healed. Manages to avoid the anti-nade right there, but they manage to push him to death right there. They're trying to get rid of Deathcraft. He gets forced so low. They manage to live, but Rem manages to find Dr. Fourth. That is such a big pick. No anti-nade available right now, but I Love Knives did find Ichi fan in the backline right there. Not really a lot of protection for the Widowmaker against that Wrecking Ball right there. As we see Vorbis just get a little bit too greedy trying to get in there. Shadow finds nothing as it goes straight into the shield of the Orisa, and Fable has disappeared.
Man, that was such an unfortunate shadow. That shield was right there, but I think this is exactly what you're talking about. This compositional difference, something like that. That's a word. Sure, it could be a word now. It is really critical. And Wexer can kind of just have a field day, even with Dr. Fourth constantly trying to freeze up Wexer. When there's a Baptiste and a Mercy that can just quickly come back, heal it up, throw an Immortality out there, you can't do much to it. And even with I Love Knives taking out a Widowmaker, Widowmaker's not even really your DPS at this point. Wexer is. Wexer's the one that is running over these players, and because of that, Orisa can't really stop them from running over. They can fortify, but then you run past the fortify, find the supports, and that's what Wix is trying to do right now, is they are mid getting slept.
Yeah, most definitely Wex would be sleeping right now. I think he'll be woken up almost immediately, but they already have this tick on the point as well. They did lose all of their ult charge towards their Valkyrie, which is quite unfortunate. However, you do have the Dragon Strike coming up, and Keck has been building up this Graviton Flux extremely quickly. So you might be seeing 4 ultimates on the side of Wendigo. They might be able to steamroll through point B right here, as it looks like we have Fable returning to us from the ether. So once they are ready, we will be getting back into it. Dezentra coming up with this nano boost. Who do you think they nano here?
I guess, well, because Vorbis is dead, there might be a res coming through by Vibes, so we might see Vorbis come back. I would either probably do Vorbis or I Love Knives.
Yeah.
I Love Knives could get quite aggressive, but I think a nanoed Pharah in the sky is pretty scary. So if we do see a res come through onto Vorbis, then that's probably your best sort of play.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, but I mean, looking at this team composition, I genuinely could see them nanoing the Mercy and having it just go foul, Glock in hand, going in. So I do agree though, Vorbis is probably the best target for the nano boost, because it with the damage boost from the Mercy and the nano boost, it's just a one shot onto any squishy. So looks like everyone is ready at the moment, and we are going to be getting into it right now as we have 1.5 ticks taken. It's going to be going up to 2 ticks. Wexer actually stays asleep for a while, and we have I Love Knives coming back in to contest, getting straight onto Rem, actually taking him out immediately. Nano Boost actually went on to Deathcraft. They might be just trying to use the Nano Boost to stall it out here, but Wexer does get anti-nated, and there needs to be very, very carefully fall. Very, very low. I Love Knives trying to get that kill, using the minefield, actually cutting off a little bit. Wexer still in this fight. He has lived for so long, as we see the Bongo coming out now. Ichifan dies to one of the mines, but in the Mortality Field, continues to keep them alive. Rem with the Dragon Strike manages to find Vibes Fusion and takes out Deathcraft, but Vorbis with the barrage over the top. Finds Wexer and Fable. Rem is still there to take out Vorbis, and it is the respawn advantage now for the attackers. They might be able to use it to get one last fight in.
Right, so they opted for a really stall-heavy comp. They seem to know how to stall that perfectly, giving up 1 tick and potentially a win opportunity for Wendigo if they defend really well there, but it's going to potentially make it really hard for them to push and win the fight.
Yeah, that was a great flux right there. Great shadow. Manages to find 2. Vibes Fusion falling very, very low, but doesn't exactly go down. That is great healing from Dezentra right there. As we see Ichifam and Rem both fall, but they need to get on the point. They almost give it up. It is so close to capping this first point, which would be a massive win here for Wendigo. Deathcraft gets resurrected, and the Immortality Field is used just on the Baptiste. I Love Knives manages to find Wexer and Keck. with the mines right there. Vorbis finds Jacko Norm. I Love Knives takes up Fable with the minefield, and 94.8% is all that Wendigo are going to be able to achieve with 3 minutes to defend. Can they do it?
Wow, that stall, especially with I Love Knives on the Wrecking Ball. I Love Knives knew exact times to touch point before it would cap through, as well as Dr. Forth on the Tracer. They did some really good stalls here, really solid play, and because of that, they managed to not let this first point cap through. And generally speaking, with Rush will just rush over everyone and cap first point. So you know what? Even though it was a bit of a goofy play, a bit of a goofy comp, I've got to give them credit where credit is due. They made the comp work for them. They found the way to make a lot of value. And the ultimates were executed near perfection. I mean, Vorbis's Rocket Barrage took out 2. And then I Love Knives with the minefield just pressuring Wendigo off point and into uncomfortable positions where Deathcraft could start swinging with the hammer, or when they were Orisa, just gun them down. So I'm really impressed, and now all they have to do is try practically full cap to win the map.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all they have to do is cap point 1, and they're running out with almost the exact same comp that they ran out with on their first attack. Going with the Farah and the Sombra, though. So they're going to be looking to play a lot slower, which is fine because, again, there's a Mercy on the side of Wendigo right now. So they can just play as slow as they like, as long as EG-Fan does not click ahead, which at the moment he is not doing, as we just see a lot of trade coming back. Great anti-nade actually coming in. That puts a lot of pressure on the side of Wendigo. They have to back up almost immediately, and Dr. Form just comes in with a hack. Tries to get in. Rem needs to be very careful on this mate. They try and pin onto the point. Try and keep it contested right now, but Vorbis just is free-firing from the sky. Eventually, someone will fall. It's Wexa who goes down. Eventually, I Love Knives actually gets taken down by EG-Fan, and it's a amplification matrix. You straight away, Rem gets a headshot onto Dizentra, and Vorbis with the barrage finds no one. That is a disaster if you are Forget-Me-Not right there. Dizentra with an 18-net again, finds 2, but they're just able to take out Vibe Fusion very late, which means they have time for Wexa to get back. But Dr. Forth is still kind of hanging out on this high ground here. That is important to keep note of.
These Baptistes have been playing out of their minds tonight. Jacko Norm built an amplification so quickly, and the amount of healing that came out is what won them that fight. Early hack onto Wexa.
Oh, great pick. That is such a big pick right there, getting rid of that Sombra before it can build up any more of a TMP. It is 85% there. You see the High Noon come out, and it's just a bit of a zoning ult right there. It really doesn't find anything, and you've kind of wasted your own Valkyrie because they just backed out. So now you have no Valkyrie and no High Noon. Dizentra has this nano boost. They have the EMP. They have the Shatter. They have the Valkyrie. How do you sustain from this? It's a nano boost onto Vorbis right now. They need to figure out a way to sustain from this straight away. Shatter comes in. It's blocked up. That's how. They use the Blizzard. Dizentra gets taken down. They manage to freeze up I Love Knives. Vorbis with the barrage coming from the top manages to find Wexa, but Rem found I Love Knives early. It's no tanks at the moment, but Rem found Vorbis again. Prompton Surge comes in now, and it's a resurrected to I Love Knives. This is really not good if you're on the side of where to go. Respawn advantage coming in right now as we see of Knives come back. Deathcraft taking out 3. Dr. Form helping the Fable. Can anyone touch the point to stall it out? It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. They try to use the Graviton Flux, but it gets EMP'd. Someone does get onto point. It's EG-Fan. They get taken out. Wexa gets taken out. And Keck gets taken out. It was a valiant effort from Wendigo, but they eventually fall on King's Row. Map 2 going over to Forget-Me-Not.
Wendigo put in such a good defense, and when that Blizzard came out, I really thought Wendigo might be winning this. However, it was down to Vorbis on the Farah shooting from the sky, and as well as that, the Mercy pick coming out, just getting the res back onto Reinhardt, ensuring that that I Love Knives can continue to roll through, and with the grab out from Deathcraft, it confirmed that fight so perfectly. Forget-Me-Not, just each player coming in so critically to make sure that they confirm that map without letting Wendigo take it. And so I think Forget Me Not, they're looking like a really solid team. Each player coming through and just doing enough work to make sure that all in all, the fight is a win. You know, one player doesn't have to be spectacular when each person is doing their part and making sure that if I Love Knives is dead, they'll come back to the res and Deathcraft will distract people while the res is happening. And it's incredible to watch.
It really is. And I think Wendigo, they had a lot more life on that map than they did on Lijiang Tower, or almost definitely. But it seemed like it was more because people like Rem could actually like stretch their legs a bit more on that DPS, on those DPS picks. Like on the Hanzo, even on the Mei, his mechanical skill was showing so well. And you picked up on it earlier as well. Jacko Norm on that Baptiste, whew, the amount of healing he pumped out to keep his tanks alive, especially against that spam composition, is insane. That he single-handedly won them that first fight on the defense where it looked like it was going south. Now we're moving over to Rialto. You might see more snipers coming out, and the mechanical skill might pay off here.
We could also see that classic Wrecking Ball try to roll people off the bridge. You never know. Maybe we'll see Deathcraft on the Orisa again. That weird comp where it was Orisa Wrecking Ball. Orisa pulling people off the map, Wrecking Ball rolling them. You never know. Have some fun, Forget Me Not. So that's pretty exciting, but I think classically we'll probably see, you know, your standard Rush trying to push people off whilst there's a double shield defending point trying to hold it. Yeah, like you said, the snipers are classic. Pharmacy works here as well. There's a lot of roofs to protect yourself, so we might see Rem and Fable or Vorbis and Vibes Fusion opt for Pharmacy at the moment. And then Sombra also works really well. Sombra works well anywhere, but Dr. Forth showing us they know how to use Sombra, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come out again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come out again as well. I think it is a very good Sombra map here. You get a lot of value from playing slower around the Sombra. I remember back when, at least back when I played, it was very highly used because you could just sit on high ground against the brawl compositions and no one would be able to touch you unless your D.Va was like hard scouting for it. Which, now that I've mentioned it, I don't think these teams have really played a lot of D.Va this game. You know, it seems like Wendigo has been playing a lot of the Sigma, and Forget Me Not has just kind of avoided D.Va altogether. Off tank required.
Yeah, exactly right. I think Keck graced us with a little bit of D.Va on that defense. There was that beautiful self-destruct remake. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, you're right. D.Va hasn't been too much, a little bit in Lijiang, but it seems like they're really feeling that Sigma play, probably purely because of the spam damage. But with Dr. Forth on Sombra, maybe D.Va's critical. D.Va's so good at searching for Sombras. So, you know, maybe we do need to see a bit more Sombra. We don't right now, as Kick is on the Sigma, and we've got a Reinhardt Wrecking Ball because, of course, Forget Me Not are attacking first. They don't need to pull people off the bridge with Orisa right now. But this payload is pretty freely pushed across the bridge.
Yeah, and straight away, I don't know, I'm just getting taken out so quickly. But Deathcraft, with just a snipe with a fire strike, takes out Fable. There's no mercy on the side now for Forget Me Not. And Isle of Knives is going to be back in this fight much faster than Fable is. And now that it's got to the corner, there's nothing really stopping the Reinhardt from Forget Me Not to just push in. So we see an actual flashbang just come in there and stop the pile drive coming in. So it's stopping that kind of paper, scissors, rock engagement style that we've seen from Forget Me Not here. Wexa trying to charge on the point, actually gets taken out here by Isle of Knives. It's just too much for the McCree to deal with. There's a Sombra, there's a Wrecking Ball, there's a Genji. There's too much for it. As we see EG Fan actually taking out Isle of Knives towards the end there, but has to back out anyway. Fable in tow and Rem in tow as well. And we've seen a role swap here as well. Rem playing that hit scan while EG Fan is on the Hanzo as he uses the Dragon Strike onto point, and we get a pause. As Wexa disappears.
Decided to run away for a little bit. But, I mean, that Fire Strike from Deathcraft unlocked a lot in terms of when... Yeah, that Fire Strike unlocked a lot for Forget-Me-Not in terms of taking out the Mercy. All of a sudden, no res potential, no healing potential. And whilst the push still was a little bit slower, once I Love Knives pile drive down, taking out, I believe it was Kick. Just removing one player gives an opportunity for Deathcraft to really get aggressive here and run across any remaining stragglers. I like the fact that they're using the Fire Strikes and might call for a quick reset because the point is likely to tick over anyway. But I think it's just a Fire Strike unlocking a fight. That's all you can really say there.
Yeah. Well, this is weird because they've just used the Dragon Strike. So this indicates that they were either planning on recontesting with 4 people because I don't think anyone else is getting back, or they were just planning on swapping immediately. It'd be weird if they planned on to swap. By the way, for anyone who wanted to know that, apparently that disconnect was caused by a phone call.
Oh, great.
That's how this works, apparently. We're back in the 90s. But no, Deathcraft having the Shadow right now, this could be massive for them. Vorba's coming up on that Blade, Dezentra coming up on the Nano Boost, and Dr. Forth coming up on the EMP. It's going to be hard to sustain through all this.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if these dragons make any value. EG is pushing up. Yeah, okay.
Again, we see a hack on Rem to get out of the high noon. They do find Vibe Fusion as well. They actually just keep going forward. It's a Shadow now from the Nano Boosted Deathcraft, but he gets taken out. Immortality Field saves him, and Keck has just been stalling our point. Can anyone touch the point before it gets over? No, they cannot. And it's going to be the first point captured by Forget-Me-Not there, and they're chasing down these kills. They want these kills right here. They see the Dragon Blade pull.
Oh my gosh, Dragon Blade!
What? They really do not like this. They were really angry about that pause.
Yeah, they really are just like, I want to finish this game as soon as possible. It was Deathcraft. Deathcraft's nanoed Shatter, even though it didn't get any kills apart from themselves, gave it enough space for Point to get captured. And now because of that, Vorbis and I Love Knives use that aggression so perfectly. And look how much space they've already made, already pushing around this near last corner.
Yeah, and we have an EMP still ready to come out. As we see a Graviton Flux actually being used. There might be an EMP to cancel that out. It is exactly what happens. We see the beat come down as well. And I Love Knives found 2. He found EG Fan and Jacko Norm. He has been an absolute tear on this Wrecking Ball all series long. They need to find something to shut him down, and they just haven't been able to right now. Rem is going to get staggered out very late by Dr. Forth. And we got a couple of bad spawns here for Wendigo. They need to be careful not to get caught out and staggered too much to give up any more of that space.
Man, Forget-Me-Not are aggressive. The EMP was kind of just to shut down the Gravitic Flux, but it got to and it led to kills here. And because of that, once again, there's just so much space pushing up. Amplification Matrix, Shatter.
It's a good Shadow. They do use the Amplification Matrix, like you said. High Noon actually coming out as well. Didn't really find anything. Dragon Strike, though, through the window, immediately deletes Deathcraft. Rem finds Vorbis in the backline, and this might be finally a little bit of stabilization for the side of Wendigo. I Love Knives is still in their backline, by the way. He's just chilling out behind a box.
This point here can be so hard to push through, but I think with Forget-Me-Not's aggression, I think they might even breeze through it. There's a minefield ready. There's a nano probably going on to Deathcraft, or saving it for the nano blade. I mean, these nanos have gone everywhere so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Forth got it again realistically, but I mean, this is going to be pretty clean for Forget-Me-Not as minefield comes out.
Great minefield. He hid for so long in that backline and waited for the perfect moment and managed to find the Baptiste before the Immortality Field came out. Deathcraft just walked forward and managed to find 2 as well. They didn't even need the Nano Boost. Rem managed to take down Dezentra, so they might be able to get a little bit of a recontest while the honor isn't there and the Nano Boost isn't available, but they're still going to have to contend with the Blade, and EMP is going to get farmed up midway through this fight. This is disastrous if you're Wendigo.
That pick onto Dezentra was really good because it stopped the aggression. It pulled back Deathcraft, and now Deathcraft's falling really low. They might get taken out unless the supports are there. Shatter.
Shatter finds only 1. Doesn't really get any follow-up though in the Nano Blade. Hasn't really found anything, but Dr. Forth comes in with the kill on Rem, gets a massive EMP, and a huge shadow to follow it up. They can just pile these ults on because they know they have finished this map. 3 minutes, 17 seconds in the clock.
Wow, that was just, you know what? When you see one ultimate, technically two, the Nano Blade doesn't work, just throw the EMP out. You know that will work. You know that'll land on everything in its range. And then, yeah, Shadow is just completely free. Forget Me Not are looking dominant right now. They are so aggressive, but they know how to do that aggression correctly, where, you know, I think that comes down to communication. I love Knives, communicating that initiation and then just being able to find one or two. I liked the pick onto Dezentra. It gave them a little bit more time bank, but man, that is just brutal stuff.
It really is just brutal. This has been, it's been a tale of defenses not really working so far. Throughout the payload maps at least, because both teams on defense have kind of struggled a bit as we see a double bubble composition coming out. This is where I can see the Mercy being played. This is where I'll agree with it. I don't want to see any more Mercy with Reinhardt anymore. I just don't. But we see the Orisa Ball composition coming out again. We see the Soldier and the Farah. This is such innovation. I'm going to call it that. I'm going to call it innovation from the side of Forget Me Not. Because these compositions, I've not seen them used before, and I don't think that Wendigo would have seen them used before either.
I'm just so happy I asked for the Orisa Pool and the Wrecking Ball roll-off and then giving it to me right now. It looks like they're opting to hold back a far bit, so they probably won't go for the pulls, but no, it's the thought that counts. This double bubble could bring a lot of trouble
he's going for the boot
on the Soldier. They tried, but doesn't manage to get it.
No, but he's just sitting on point. No one's doing anything about it. He's literally just sitting there. He pile drives now, and it's just a little bit of a back and forth right now. Jackanorm needs to be very careful he doesn't get spammed down by the fire, but in fact, I Love Knives takes out Rem. Wexer did find Dr. Forth on that high ground there, but needs to be very careful. There's Resurrect coming in. Dr. Forth is back in this fight, and Keka's army got taken down. Wexer just takes down Dr. Forth again, but it's a big anti catching on to both Fable and onto Wexer right there as we see. Now, I Love Knives actually getting swept in the backline. Needs to be very careful. EG Fan takes out Borbus. This fight is still going. It is such a long fight because these compositions are so drawn out. And in fact, in the end, it is Wendigo coming out with a little bit more progress.
Yeah, they're finally able to push through, and Wexer on the Winston looking up towards Borbus and Vibes Fusion, putting that pressure onto the pharmacy. I think that's a good shout. I think that's a really good way to just make sure that the pharmacy doesn't get as much value, and look how much space they're getting now because of it.
Yeah, I agree. This composition is, I think it's a lot better than what they've been playing recently, as we see the Valkyrie come out now, and the High Noon as well. High Noon actually catches onto Borbus. It's a nano boost now onto the monkey, into the backline. Wexer is doing his best to get damage done, and he finds Dezentra. That is a massive pick now. He needs to stop the Resurrect, but it doesn't even look like a Resurrect would help at this moment as Dr. Forth gets taken down by Rem. We see the Primal Rage actually get used, and Deathcraft goes for a swim in the canals of Rialto right there. And, I mean, throughout all this, by the way, we still see Vibe Fusion just living on the Mercy. They have lived for so long, they're actually going to be able to recontest with the Mercy Valkyrie coming in. Borbus using the barrage right there, and a nano boost onto I Love Knives. This fight is going on for so long right now. Valkyrie coming out from Vibe Fusion manages to get a resurrect on Borbus. Dr. Forth takes out Fable, and his car isn't really going anywhere. Antinado to Keka's army means they have to be very careful, and a great dynamite comes in. I Love Knives takes out Keka's army. Barrage coming in, doesn't really find anything. Borbus takes out Rem, but Wexer finds Deathcraft, and Borbus goes down. It's so close to a point capture, but the Ash comes out, and I Love Knives cleans up the fight. Great defense from Forget Me Not.
Take a breath now, Harry. That was such a long fight. Oh my gosh. And I think you hit the hammer. Or you hit the nail, you hit the hammer, you did something, you were hitting it right there and then. Talking about Vibes Fusion on the Mercy, staying alive, and because of that, Vibes was just able to keep that point not being pushed to cap. I Love Knives coming through just at the end to ensure that the picks were coming through and put enough pressure that they weren't able to get through. Minefield?
That's a really big pick, and another Hino gets two! EG Fair, you absolute monster! You have just torn through the team of Forget Me Not. 60 seconds left, but it looks like they're going to be able to move through. Rem finds Dr. Forth with the help of a flashbang from EG Fair. And again, it's just a stall from I Love Knives right now. How long can he stall this out for? Keka's army, well overextended, got pinned, dies. Wixer managed to take out I Love Knives, and EG Fair takes out Vibes Fusion. EG fan with Vorbis again to nano boost onto the sleeping Reinhardt. Not really needed. That was a bit of a waste right there. But they capped first point, and that was a roller coaster of emotions right there.
Yeah, that was a solid fight. EG fan just opening it up, a really good pick onto Vibes there, and then the Deadeye to make sure that it is done. They capture the point, but the point percentage is looking really good right now for Forget Me Not, and all they want is a better time bank. And I think even if they do manage to cap it, it'll be hard for Wendigo to match this 3 minute 17 time bank.
Yeah,
and it'll come down to death product.
Yeah, we're sitting engaging a great Graviton Surge actually, just stopping the nano boosted Reinhardt from actually moving forward at all. As we see, no value from the nade, but a burst of value from the shadow. Wexer just goes straight in with the pin. Vorbis gets taken down to that forward duel, and EG fan takes out I Love Knife. This is a little bit of motivation that we needed to see from Wendigo if they want to stay in this series right now. They are moving forward with such aggression and such intent. It is insane.
These DPS are just working perfectly right now. Rem and EG fan are just putting in the work. But I mean, Wexer opened it up with the shatter onto the ground, and it gave room for these DPS. Rem taking the Pharaoh battles.
Yeah, Rem taking the Pharaoh battle. EG fan with a high noon in the backline again finds value with it. He cannot keep getting away with this value right now. This is way too much value from high noon. Vorbis with the barrage loop takes out 3. That will save the fight there. 4. Forget Me Not, make it 4. Wexer goes down to Dr. Froth, and that is going to be the end of the fight right there. A minute 30 on the clock, but they don't need that much else to get point 2.
Forget Me Not are so good at these last minute stalls. They managed to just get there and just quickly throw anything they can at the point to make sure it doesn't push through. Bob came out to just slow down that payload from moving, and it gave enough time for I Love Knives to throw a minefield down, for a rocket barrage, sorry, to come out by Vorbis. And yeah, because they just commit 1 or 2 ultimates to slow down the push, it means that these last couple of ultimates win the fight. Sure, you use a lot, but the time bank's looking really healthy for Forget Me Not.
It is looking very good. We see the nano boost on the Mercy. I was right. I knew they were going to do this at some point. REM takes out Dr. Forth right now, and the barrage comes down. Takes out Deathcraft and Dizentra. Shatter comes out as well. Don't know if it was really needed in the end. Kikazami has moved over to the Diva and finds 2. And, wow. That might have been just a little bit too creative from Forget Me Not right there. The nano boost onto the Mercy as Dr. Forth gets staggered out right there.
Sometimes it's good when you're playing Ana to have that confirm target button where it says, do you want to nano this target? Maybe they wanted to nano Vibes Fusion, but I think the nano onto Rem got a lot more value, especially when that rocket barrage took out 2. Rem really said, Vorbis, I can do what you can do. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah. Most definitely, and this can mean that they might actually be able to get a little bit of good time here as we see Dr. Forth moving over to that Cassidy right now. EG fan building up to that high noon. He's been deadly with them so far. Can he continue to get value with the... It's back and forth right now. Dr. Forth takes out Jacko Norm. Vorbis with the high noon again. Vorbis with the high noon. Sorry, EG fan with the high noon again takes out Vorbis. But Vorbis got the trade kill right there. And it looks like it's all going the way of Forget Me Not. They have a lot of ults in the bank right now. It's going to be a really difficult push for Wendigo in this last fight. And what could be the last fight, sorry.
Well, with 1 minute remaining, that time bank is going to be hard for Wendigo right now. But the swap onto Diva has already built up a self-destruct. We could see a pretty critical self-destruct come through and just wipe the team if they place it perfectly. So that's what we're looking at right now. Meanwhile, Vorbis is obviously going to just try and shut down this whole push with that rocket barrage here. Minefield comes out early.
Minefield. Yeah, Minefield just straight away, but it's so far back, it doesn't really matter. EG fan needs to be carefully almost overextended. Makes the shadow there, but it doesn't matter. Wexer got stunned out of it, shadow. Rem did find Deathcraft, and Wexer found Vorbis, but I Love Knives gone to Jack and Norm. Resurrect now onto the Ana right there, and a self-destruct coming into the backline. High noon manages to fight Purple, but huge Kikazami might have just saved this round for Wendigo. The 2 supports going down to the self-destruct right there. Vorbis using the barrage, trying to get some value. Does find Jack and Norm. That's a lot of healing now for Wendigo. Cut out. 7 seconds left in Kikazami. Gets D-Mac trying to touch the point. It's just Rem on the point right now, trying to keep it alive. Gets a touch. It's going to go into overtime. Dr. Forth gets taken down. Little touch the point. It is over. Forget Me Not has won this series.
Oh, that was just enough sort of blocking from sort of enough distraction so that Wexer couldn't get the touch. What a great dominant performance by by Forget Me Not there. Really impressed. I like, they didn't really miss a beat, even when the kills came out and when it looked like it was looking good for Wendigo. They managed to just get back in, and it was kind of like fights getting traded back and forth. Wendigo would win a fight, and then Forget Me Not would win a fight, and then Wendigo would win a fight. And because of that, Forget Me Not just got that value and managed to take the series for us today.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just Wendigo trying to adjust as much as they could to the uncouth strategies coming out from Forget Me Not right there. You don't see those every day. You don't see an Orisa ball pulled out on Rialto every day. So I think trying to adapt to so many different strategies at once, when Forget Me Not could just essentially go over to the meta and just destroy any of the preparations you had for those weird compositions. I think it was just too much in the end for Wendigo. They did put up a very good fight in those last two maps, but unfortunately just fell a little bit short, despite some heroic efforts from people like EG Fan and Jack Enorm as well.
Yeah, enormous plays by all of Forget Me Not. EG Fan put in a lot of work. Rem as well. Rem was nasty on the Pharah. Like, it seemed like Rem was winning a lot of the Pharah battles against Vorbis, but I think Forget Me Not, they just all perfectly played. Like I said, it was sort of like a puzzle piece. All their puzzle pieces fitted together, came together so perfectly, and that was incredible gameplay from Forget Me Not. Next up, firstly, do you have a MVP for Forget Me Not?
I do, and I mean, you could call it a little bit of a late game preference, but I think Vibes Fusions is probably my MVP for Forget Me Not. He just performs so consistently, and then had that heroic moment on Rialto that stalled out that fight for so long. You could see that he was really in tune with what the rest of his team wanted, and the flexibility from him was just absolutely insane. So I'd say Vibes Fusion might be my MVP for today, although I Love's Knives was very, very close.
Yeah, every player played so well on Forget Me Not. I agree. I think out of everything, the supports on both teams were playing out of their minds. I mean, the Baptistes were playing so well. Mercy picks were critical when Pharmacy was out, and the Rezzes came through at very clutch moments. So yeah, I'll agree with that MVP pick.
I also have a little bit of bias because I know main supports, they don't get a lot of recognition, you know, especially if they're not the big flashy main supports. They go for the big boops or anything like that. They don't get a lot of recognition. So I think just be able to consistently keep your team alive and not get picked off, it's such a good trait.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, we've witnessed one of our matches for tonight, Wendigo versus Forget Me Not. Congratulations to Forget Me Not for that 3-0 victory. But we have our second game of the night coming up very shortly. Shadow Reaper versus Tropical Thunder, our Div 3 game. We will be watching that after a quick wee break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. We are here with AAOL Season 13, Stage 3, Week 2. We've just had an absolute ripper of a game just before between Wendigo and KE Forget-Me-Not, ending in a 3-0 for and now we're moving over towards Shadow Reaper UWU versus Tropical Thunder. We better not forget the UWU in that name. I'm still here with Apara, and this is looking to be an interesting game, Apara.
Yeah, absolutely right. The UWU is very important in Shadow Reaper, so we'll make sure to say Shadow Reaper UWU every single time. But we got some pretty good teams lined up for us for this Div 3 matchup. I'm excited to watch it. Starting off with Shadow Reaper UWU, we're gonna be watching them play against Tropical Thunder. Shadow Reaper UWU opting for Vine Balloon on their main tank, and then Jazz on their off tank. Both of them like Hog as their favorite hero, so they might be fighting for Hog a little bit. On top of that, we've got Neko versus not versus with Ear on the DPS, versing each other, trying to get Soldier 76. And then finally, DD Ninja and I'm gonna call them Kawa. That's gonna help my mouth not get confused. DD Ninja and Kawa on the support. DD Ninja liking the Mercy and Kawa opting for that Baptiste. A few cool things about Shadow Reaper UWU is that no one on this team seems to actively play Overwatch, especially Vine Balloon, who every time they open the game, they have to download a new patch, which that's just so impressive.
That is the main tank mentality right there.
Absolutely. Why would you open the game anyway if you're a main tank? There's so much pain offered to you in Overwatch in the main tank role.
Yeah, no, most definitely. That is an interesting fact, and I wonder how that's going to affect their gameplay coming in here. But let's take a quick look at their opponents, Tropical Thunder. As we see Brood Strike on that main tank. We have Faded EXC on the off tank. Mag9 on the projectile DPS role. We have Master 69 on the hit scan DPS. Shiro on the main support. And Jamin on the aim support. Preferring that Baptiste and that Lucio. It looks like they're preferring more of a rush style composition. A couple of fun facts. They were originally a gold team that has now progressed upwards to a diamond team. And they've also disbanded once, but they have since then obviously rebuilt the roster. And I wonder how much synergy that leaves the team to have. We haven't really got a timeline of event, but if they are a recent team, I wonder how synergized they're going to be.
I do like how our time frame notice just came together. They did come together, yes, that is true. My question, Harry, is if Tropical Thunder were a gold team, now a diamond team, and they disbanded once and rebuilt, does that mean they went from gold to diamond due to grinding it out, or did they just kick out all the golds and bring in a bunch of diamond players? That's my thoughts on that.
That is true. That is the ultimate way of baiting everyone right there. And look at this. We've got rush compositions coming out straight away. The only difference being the Hanzo and the Symmetra here. Oh, and no Mei as well, obviously.
Yeah, Mei is going to be a pretty crucial pick. Obviously, the Symmetra can get onto the point quickly, and then the Mei will be blocking off anyone who tries to jump onto the point here. So I think it is looking a little bit more in favor of Tropical Thunder as we enter into our first matchup of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, well, they did do the Sim TP out there, but they swapped over back to the Soldier, and now point control is over to Tropical Thunder as Shadow Reaper UWU is just trying to jostle a little bit with position and spam damage. They're going to try and break down that shield. As they try and walk in, they get Maywalled off right there, and it's a lot of pressure on Vine Balloon. Vine Balloon goes down very, very quickly. No immortality field was even used to keep him alive, and just like that, Tropical Thunder immediately destroys Shadow Reaper UWU.
Now, interesting, you mentioned the immortality. It actually got, like, stuck underneath the Mei wall. It was stuck in the ground, and because of that, it couldn't save Vine Balloon there, unfortunately. And yeah, that Mei wall perfectly just initiated that fight, but this kill onto Jarman might initiate a better fight.
Yeah, it might indeed, as you see the grab shot goes from almost immediately. The play so slow, they managed to pull that up really quickly. As you see an application matrix being used from Fire Balloon is slowed down a lot for those turrets. They're not really able to get any kills from it. Fire Strike coming through the window, almost takes out Master, but they're not really able to do anything there. Shutter comes out, only catches onto the Zebra, and attack fires now from the Soldier. And we see a SMTP into the backline from Master. He's trying to get as much damage as 10. Yeah, takes out Mag 9, but just like that, they managed to put the point over. This fight is still not over, though. Trying to go through. Shutter, block. The amplification matrix. Huge, doesn't really find anything, but Fire Balloon goes down, and GD Ninja went down to Brute Strike. Now they're pushing back with the point, trying to take back control. Doing all of this, Nico goes off the map, and it is going to be the point flipping back over to Tropical Thunder.
Tropical Thunder may have won the fight, but because of that flip, they practically backed up so much to give it to them, just waiting for Jam to get back. And I liked that. I liked that patience. Sure, 15% went to the way of Shadow Reaper UWU, but because of that patience, Amplification Matrix came into that doorway, and just so much damage got to pump out. I liked the patience, knowing that you had to stay back and wait for the Baptiste to come back.
Yeah, most definitely. It's really been like an elegant gameplay almost. Thunder. As you see a Fire Strike just catching out air, that honestly might end the push right now. The Maywall block Master as he TPs into the backline. They're trying to get aggressive now. Immortality still gets taken down as KoalasEsports actually can't really do a lot more to try and keep the team alive. And it's just, again, they're not really able to move onto point right now. They do break the teleporter, and they're able to push back in. That fight was really nothing. 6 ults on the board as we see the window coming straight out. Dragon Surge used as we see a Sim Wall being used now. They're trying to push in. Got a lot of damage being followed up, so they're trying so hard to push in. Huge shutter! Boom! Being used! Only catches on to DD Ninja though. The right arm was charged away. Brute Strike taking out Fire Balloon. Shiro gets up to Nico. And Brute Strike taking out Kesakawa. And that is going to be the fight and the round going over to Tropical Thunder. That fight was just really extended.
Oh my gosh, Brute Strike is a monster on this Reinhardt. I would not want to meet them on the streets of Lijiang right now. Reinhardt v Reinhardt, that is scary stuff, but Master on the Symmetra was really critical. If you missed it, there was a grab coming out by Jazz, and then the photon barrier came out by Master to make sure that no damage would come through on the grab. It forced DD Ninja to pop the sound barrier just to get aggressive to try and push in, and losing that sound barrier for defense in an offensive push gave Tropical Thunder enough time to really just win that fight, and they won it so perfectly as well. It'll be interesting to see how Shadow Reaper UWU match up now, opting for the Symmetra.
Yeah, the Symmetra versus the double spam here. This is going to be really interesting because we need to play a lot faster now. If you are the side of Shadow Reaper UWU, you're trying to just push onto them as fast as you can, but Balloon just gets absolutely melted right there. They took a little bit too long. He took way too much damage. The DD Ninja goes down to fade the EXE. Who must take down Shiro Nico, and Jazz cannot get back to the teleporter to get out. However, they do manage to get KoalasEsports. I need to get that name down pat. I will do it eventually. And that is the point flip going over to Tropical Thunder again. They take over point control.
And look at that. Now the Symmetra can set up those turrets. It's going to be such a difficult push to rush through, especially with Brood Strike throwing these Fire Strikes so well. The Maywall is going to help them be able to push up, and I think this May pick could be huge, even though Junk is pumping damage. Freezing up Tropical Thunder could just give a lot of value on the push here. Amplification Strike, Matrix to start the fight.
Oh! Shiro Neko just jumped straight into that Fire Strike. That is so unfortunate. And now they're surrounded by the Junkrat, the Symmetra, and the tanks as well. They're just being absolutely mixed up here. That is going to be another fight going in control of Tropical Thunder, and they really only had to use one ult for that. They have both DPS ults ready, and they've almost got their tank ults ready as well. Shiro's coming up on that beat too.
This is looking really, really hard for Shadow Reaper right now. Tropical Thunder are just so good at what they do with the Symmetra, and especially this Junkrat. I mean, we have to watch out for this Riptide. I feel like this could be a big Riptide coming through shortly as Sound Barrier comes out for this fight.
Yeah, Bible just did a little bit of creative flanking right. They're coming in from the side and charging onto Faded EXE. They're not really able to convert it to any kills. As we see a huge flank shutter, teleporting into the backline. We see another shutter, but it doesn't really find anything. Balloon with a pin does find Mag 9 though. They're able to try and fight this back, but with no support, it's going to be really difficult. In fact, they're just going to back out. They use self-destruct to stay in met. And 78% building up right now. This fight might still go on for a little bit longer.
TP shatters are scary. I mean, you just don't know what you're gonna do when there's a teleport. And now an amplification matrix once again on the point from Jam and working so well.
Oh, that is so bad. Air goes down with the Blizzard. They're going to be unable to use it. They have to charge with the point. Vine Balloon gets straight off the point. Now it's the Self-Destruct going up in the air with the Riptide. Riptide taking up Vine Balloon, and the Self-Destruct not really finding anything. Mental Wall was also laid down. Brute Strike takes out DD Ninja, but Jazz found Mag9. Doesn't really matter, though, because Master on the Symmetra is taking out Sdogga, and that is going to be the round going in favor of Tropical Thunder. Absolute dominance coming out from them.
Our red teams right now, both red teams tonight, have been so aggressive and dominant. We saw last match Forget-Me-Not being dominant, and Tropical Thunder are keeping up that pressure. Brood Strike especially. Brood Strike can be talked about for incredible shatters. I mean, a TP shatter. But on top of that, Fire Strikes through amplification matrices, Fire Strikes just in general taking players out. A Brood Strike is so scary, and I'm excited to watch them continue on through the series.
Yeah, so am I. I really, that play of the game we just watched there, that should really have been faded EXEs, but Brood, by pinning the Reinhardt, actually boot the rest of the team out of the way of the self-destruct, stopping his team from actually securing those kills with the bomb. It didn't really matter in the end. It was honestly just kind of a steal. It was weird from Shadow Reaper UWU. They seemed really lost in that brawl style composition, and maybe that has to do with the fact that they don't play Overwatch all that consistently, as we said earlier. Earlier when we were introducing the teams. But Vine Balloon was doing some really weird pins and shatters just on the flanks right there, as we seem to be having a sub coming in now for Shadow Reaper UWU. White Fox coming in, and Air is going out.
Yeah, it seems like I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's I mean, Air was an Apex player. Maybe they gave it a go. I gave Overwatch a go, and they're like, I'll go back to Apex. So maybe that's the call there. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it does look like we're having a wee bit of a sub come through, and I do agree. It did look like Shadow Reaper were looking a bit uncomfortable on that rush play style there. It might also be because both tanks prefer Hog. Maybe we just need to see them take an opportunity to play Hog. And if they're not comfortable with that rush style, I don't want to say it, but we might see Eichenwald. We might see Eichenwald come through. You don't think so? You don't think we're going to get Kings Row? Oh, no, they just...
Nope, I could read the chat.
Yep, no, they just see Kings Row next. Okay, I thought that might come through. It looks like they're going to opt to continue that rush style. I mean, some other comps can be played on Kings Row, but yeah, I thought we might see the Eichenwald because, you know, you could run Hog here. You could run a bit of a cheekier comp,
yeah,
but they don't.
Yeah, I would have agreed with the Eichenwald pick. I think Eichenwald... This might get me in a lot of trouble, but I think Eichenwald is just a better map than Kings Row. There goes any valid opinions I've ever had about Overwatch. But no, I think to go up against Tropical Thunder on Kings Row, where they seem so competent with that brawl style, I think it is really not a good decision. We might be able to see a little bit of Wrecking Ball come through. I mean, our last game showed us exactly what could be played on Kings Row, being basically everything. It's going to be interesting to see if they try and change those compositions at all, as my camera almost falls over. There we go. Or if we just see the bread and butter brawl comps come out.
Yeah, I think so far these teams look a lot more traditional, so I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, straight away, we've got Ryan Diva versus Ryan Zar. So I'm not super surprised that they are sticking to this classic sort of rule comp. Just the major difference is Zarya, Diva. We still see a Mei coming out on Mag9, and the Mei walls are critical on a defense, trying to slow down pushes, getting freezes, anything like that is huge. And two Cassidys on either side of the board.
Yeah, okay, so Cassidy is going to be very interesting. Like I said in the last match, his range is perfect for Kings Row. He's such a mid-range character. He's just perfect, and then his utility with his stun as well is great. Hanzo from Shereneko coming out for the insta-kill potential. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think Shiro, if they get a couple of picks, they could unlock this fight very quickly here. And this rush is going to just start quickly rushing through past the statue. Interesting to see Mag9 not up close, getting a wall quickly. So that's giving a lot of space very early on to
I don't like this. I don't like this. They both just use their immortality field, but it's such a better immortality field coming out from Kawasagawa, and they're unable to really do anything. They just weren't aggressive enough. They do manage to find that kill on Vine Balloon, but they traded out from Mag9, and without the Diva mech, Brucetrack's going to take so much damage right now, and it's just going to be a push on to the point with Shadow Reaper UWU right here. They do manage to take out Jazz, but yeah, that was weird from Tropical Thunder. They didn't get aggressive.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Tropical Thunder, they fell back and then kind of pushed through, but a little bit too late, giving Shiro such room to just start popping off there. And yeah, Shadow Reaper very quickly capping the point there.
Yeah, no, it was really interesting watching how they played that, because I thought what they were going to do was wait until they saw the rotation and then just speed onto them, but they didn't end up doing that. So now we see them just kind of posturing for this point. Again, it's weird, no aggression from Shadow UWU, because they didn't take up to that 4 point until now when the cart's already there. So they didn't really gain any space or anything like that. As we see, Robinson Surge actually coming out after the window, and the Dragon Strike manages to catch Master, who was just caught outside. Shironiko with 4 right there. Make it 5, including the D-Mac. Honestly, give them that. That is a great little bit of teamwork coming out there from the side of Shadow Reaper.
That's a classic, classic combo. Grab dragons. What can you say? Dominant stuff there. Even with the immortality dies a bit too quickly, and that's just going to roll them through second point here. And I mean, whilst the ultimates are looking in favor now of Tropical Thunder, I've got to say, with how much pressure they're putting on Tropical Thunder, they're already falling back. They almost don't want to defend.
Yeah, there's 5 minutes on the board. There's 5 minutes 39 seconds on the board right now. That is unheard of for me on King's Row. They've absolutely dominated so fast, and they're just going to keep pushing it forward. Shironiko getting a pick onto Shiro. Straight away, the better Shiro prevails, I guess. As we see the shield get broken, they're literally just walking forward with Vine Balloon just holding his right click. They're just advancing behind his shield. That is so well played from Shadow Reaper UWU. That must have been going easy in the first round because it is a completely different team.
I don't even know if it was going easy. Tropical Thunder look like a different team too. They don't even want to press W at all. They've fallen back so much. Finally, Shatter comes out. We might see something.
Yeah, we might see something indeed. Graviton Surge though comes out, and the Dragon Strike. That catches 3 right there. And it's just Mag9 and Master on the point. Master goes down, and Mag9 will go down as well. 4 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. That is absolutely absurd from Shadow Reaper UWU. And that is how you turn around a map loss.
I don't even understand what Tropical Thunder were doing. Like, all of Third Point, they had opportunities to push in and get aggro, but they just kept falling back and back and back. And then all of a sudden, they were defending last point. You need to be aggressive. If the enemy team is pressing W on you, you can press W too. That's not forcing you to press S. So
they're not stealing your W key.
Yeah, exactly right. This isn't a dance. You don't need to follow the leader's moves. You can fight back if you want to.
Yeah, most definitely. Honestly, you're completely right by both teams looking very different. Honestly, for Tropical Thunder, it looks like someone just came by with the Men in Black pen and just mind wiped them. They just took away, because map 1, they were so aggressive. Like, it couldn't get hold of them. This is such a weird turn of events. As we see Shadow Reaper coming out with the Zarya, same composition from Shadow Reaper UWU, and why not? I mean, you just dominated with it. But looks like we're going to see maybe a Monkey Brawl composition coming out from the side of Tropical Thunder. Maybe this is how they get their way back into being aggressive again.
Yeah, I mean, we need to see some kind of aggression here. The dive, if it's coordinated properly, could work really well. And Master running that Sombra is going to come down to critical EMPs, just trying to make sure you get as many players as possible. once Dee Dee learns there's a Sombra on the field, she's probably going to play that hide-and-seek game of don't get caught in the EMP, and it's going to be critical to watch that Lucio, but real quick aggression onto point.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want to see that aggression. Vine Balloon's shield has already gone down, and he's been hacked up as well. He gets bubbled, so he's not really taking any damage right now, but they need to still store point. DD is the one who touches to start with. And we see a little bit of a flank now from White Fox. White Fox went on an angle there, trying to get some damage in. They do give up a tick, but Mag9 goes down. That's a great pick onto the Reaper. That's a lot of damage for the side of Tropical Thunder going down, but Vine Balloon just kind of charged across point. Goes down very quickly, but they're charging through now. Shiro Nico found Brood Strike, and Jazz gets Shiro and Faded EXE, and they're able to win that fight, and their Reinhardt should be back in time before the fight begins.
I think I might have realized what's happened with Shadow Reaper UWU. You know, first game back, you're a little bit rusty, and then you come back and you're like, okay, this is how you play. You press the W key. So I'm loving to see it now. I'm loving to see this aggression come through. Shiro is absolutely incredible on this Hanzo as well. I think that's another big difference maker for them right now, is getting 1 pick, force them all the way back into spawn yet again.
Brood Strike didn't even make it to the statue then. He literally didn't make it there. That is great damage and great fire right there. As you see, lots of ults coming out now. Dragon Strike, Graviton Surge, High Noon, and Amplification Matrix, all used on the side of Shadow Reaper UWU. Shiro manages to find Shiro Nico, but Brood Strike went down, and so did Mag9. Faded EXE got DMAC and is taken down late, and that fight is again won by Shadow Reaper UWU as they try and get a little bit more aggressive, trying to find the Sombra. They need to be careful that White Fox isn't caught out. He's not. They're able to get back, and it looks like a pause is being called for right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a few things that I'm sort of picking up on. First match, Tropical Thunder had that Sombra, and they were playing really well with it. They seem to know how to use these TPs really well. Potentially, not Sombra, sorry, Symmetra. Potentially losing that Symmetra pick has made them not as confident in their aggression here, because they're not getting to point first like they were with Control here now. And with Brood Strike, really, they were getting incredible fire strikes, really good aggression, and we're not seeing that same performance right now. And so potentially that Symmetra pick was really critical for them on Lijiang Tower. Maybe they're also just very confident on Control maps, but I like to see how Shadow Reaper has kind of realized this now, and they're getting so aggressive consistently. They're just pushing up. They don't care. They're finding that 1 or 2 picks, especially with Shiro Nico putting in a lot of work on the Hanzo right now, and they've got that tried and true grab dragons, and it's worked every time. They've gotten 1 or 2 people, sometimes 4, and it's just working a charm. So I think Shadow Reaper UWU has found their rhythm, and they're rocking it really well now.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. And as for Tropical Thunder, they seem kind of rocked right now. Like, they don't know what to do, because, I mean, this is just so different. How do you respond after winning the first map so convincingly? You're thinking in your head, hey, this might be an easy game. And if you're not thinking that in your head, then, you know, but I don't know what's going on there. But to me, you're thinking that this is an easy game. This is a roll right now. You need to have that confidence going into the next map, only for it to then be shattered by just the pure aggression from Shadow Reaper UWU. Your mind state has to take such a massive toll after that. And I think maybe they're getting into their heads a little bit as well.
Yeah. Seems like the training weights have definitely come off, no matter what. Shadow Reaper UWU, they're taking the training weights off. They are playing so aggressively now, and it's good to see, you know, because realistically, whilst the wipes are impressive in theory, they're not really that impressive to watch in terms of that sort of sitting on your chair, you know, who's going to win it, what's going to happen. So with the fact that Shadow Reaper UWU are now coming back and giving us a really good performance, I'm liking it. I'm liking what I see. The other thing I might want to even talk about is Faded EXE, now playing the Diva. I believe, correct me if I was wrong, they were playing Diva first map on Lijiang? Or were they playing Zarya?
They were playing the Diva on the first map, yes.
Okay, so potentially now we might even be seeing Jazz on this Zarya, maybe just figuring out how to work it properly and put that aggression onto them, because yeah, now it just seems like this Diva Jazz comp is looking a bit more in the favor of Shadow Reaper UWU.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone who hasn't booted up the game since the last patch, Vimballoon is looking pretty damn good on this Reinhardt right now. He's really showing his stuff on this map as you see them now trying to come in. They need to play this faster. They do have the EMP. It's going to be really difficult, and it's up to DD Ninja to try and avoid being hacked up so they can get the sound barrier off. And you can see him already positioning away, trying to stay away. In fact, White Fox found Perk Master, and that is going to be just the fight over. They can't push in without that EMP. They don't have the ults to do it. And it seems like Shadow Reaper, we know that. They're trying to get those kills.
The subbing for White Ox is working a charm right now, rocking that Cassidy very, very well. And yeah, I'm impressed. That was a really important pick, and it worked out perfectly. Now we're gonna see Tropical Thunder try another push with EMP ready. Here it comes.
Oh, he gets DD as well. That's a really good EMP. He gets the double hack onto Vimballoon as well. Vimballoon goes down. Jarman got taken out by White Fox though, and they get the B. Can they get back onto point to contest? They can indeed. White Fox has been left alone on the high ground, but Jazz walks onto point right now. Root Strike goes down, Magnite goes down, White Fox is still on the high ground, terrorizing the side of Tropical Thunder. They take out Shiro, they take out Master, and Faded XC goes down. That was really good sustain from the side of Shadow Reaper UWU. They're gonna taxi back their Fallen.
Wow, that's also really good, knowing we can give up a tick here and then just jump back on and be aggressive once more. And the EMP actually only got 3 people, so whilst it looked big getting DD Ninja, it wasn't really enough to try and roll through, and the follow-up just wasn't there. Now we've got an amplification matrix coming out.
Yeah, amplification matrix coming out, and then we saw the grab not really finding anything, and then the dragon invested, it didn't find anything. The shadow was used as well, it didn't find anything. Jazz lobbing right clicks through, actually managed to find Root Strike, and there goes Faded EXE, having to use the bomb on point to clear it out. They do get 3 on there, and they're getting close to capturing it. They need to get on the point, they gotta get on. They instead chase the kill on Mag9. Mag9 acting as a distraction actually allowed them to get the point there, and Tropical Thunder now with point 1 captured, looks to gain a little bit more momentum.
Yeah, that was maybe a little bit of not timing it properly. I'm not too sure. They might have just decided, let's give up the point. You know, we've gotten a much better time bank already. But realistically, losing that point is going to be a bit devastating here, as now we do see Tropical Thunder finally getting a bit more aggressive, and the ults are looking really good for Tropical Thunder as well, as they've got 4 ultimates on the board compared to a big old 0 from Shadow Reaper UWU.
Yeah, we see the Dragon Strike actually almost catching out Kawa, and we see the High Noon now actually getting 2. Shironeko and DD Ninja going down. Great High Noon. We're seeing a lot of value getting from the High Noons from the Cassidys at the moment. Magnite fighting Vimballoon as well, and that is going to be the fight. Just immediately 1 here from Tropical Thunder. That's what we need to see. Clean fights as Magnite takes out White Fox. It's a 4K for him in this fight.
Yeah, that was, I think that was just the ultimates coming through, really. I mean, the Dragon Strike, splitting them up, gave value for Tropical Thunder here to get aggressive and get a couple of split picks here and there, and that's going to be this payload pushing really close. Shadow Reaper UWU are going to be able to recontest, but it's going to look pretty close here.
Yeah, we see the window actually on the high ground there now, trying to get as much value with the Hanzo as we can. But now we see the Dragon Strike and the Graviton Surge combo. They do manage to get Brood Strike, and they found Shiro as well. Shironeko actually found Master as well, and Faded EXE. He is a monster on this Hanzo right now. Magnite finds Shironeko and a High Noon from the side just to clear the point. It won't really find anything, and that is a fight win. The Shadow Reaper UWU, this is the longest walk back from spawn to a point in the game. This is probably gonna be last fight right now.
Yeah, this is such a brutal walk back. It's going to be really hard, and with no ults on the board, you do have a Dragon and a Deadeye coming up soon, but with Vimballoon Shatter, it's going to be very scary right now for Tropical Thunder. They're going to have to get so aggressive, and with Shiro and this Hanzo just popping off, it's going to be very hard to see that come through. Master, however, opening up the fight.
Yeah, Master opening up the fight on DD Ninja right there, but they still have to be careful of the shadow. Kawasagawa actually goes down there. They might not even invest gold. In fact, Mag9 and Master, have just been absolutely insane in that fight. They cleared that way for the rest of their team right there. Great play from the DPS on the side of Tropical Thunder.
Look at this time difference, though. 1:20 to 4:45.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, Shadow Reaper are feeling good right now. Shadow Reaper UWU really putting in a lot of work. The ultimates are looking pretty even on the board, both sides having 3 ultimates each. And now with the Deadeye coming out, this could open up this fight.
That's an early Deadeye that catches on to DD Ninja. The Cassidy on Mag9 is just turning up right now, as we see now the Amplification Matrix and the Dragon Strike being used in tandem. Shatter on the point. Can they touch the card?
Beautiful Dragon Strike by Master there. It zoned out the whole team, made it that no one could touch point, and then 2 people tried to run through, but they died. You're not going to be able to touch point with this dragons in your face. And it gave them enough time to be able to actually push, because that's the other thing with this box on the ground here. If we saw Shadow Reaper UWU get to that overtime, then it would just be a 1-tick push. But now Tropical Thunder have that 1 minute on the board. They are going to be able to at least try to push to cap this first point. It's going to be an uphill battle, but you know what? At least they've got it.
Yeah, most definitely. And the Cassidy play from Mag9 there was really, really clutch towards the end, using his ult in perfect timings and just hitting his shots as well. It's what you need from your DPS players at a time like this. As we see Master looking at the Widowmaker, just trying to get a little bit of scouting done here. White Fox on the Genji. I don't know if I agree with this per se, but I'll be intrigued to see how it is. I mean, realistically, you need to win 1 fight for Shadow Reaper UWU on your first defense, and you'll get it to overtime no matter what. So maybe they're just hoping that if they stall enough time, they build up a blade, and then they have 5 minutes on their attack. I don't really know, though.
Yeah, I mean, Blade can win fights, but generally it's a little bit more Nano Blade, and without the Arno, it'll be interesting to see here. Classic Rush once again opting to go through Elderworth Hotel. I like this really quick get to the backline, but White Ox, oh my gosh.
White Fox played that perfectly. He got the deflect onto the flashbang and took out Master instantly. Now they wrap around to the other side of the hotel and try and get in close. They don't really get any more kills. There we go. Jarman goes down. White Fox goes down as well, though. Jazz found Shiru, and it's just going to be trying to push them back. If they can get any stagger kills right now, this could be like map ending. Oh no, DD Ninja needs to be really careful. He gets caught out. He went way too aggressive. That is really bad. This turned from a really good situation to a really bad situation. We do see the Genji Blade actually coming up close though, and Vine Balloon is building up the shadow. He gets walled off and caught by the Amplification Matrix. Shirineko goes down to a Fire Strike through that, and that is going to be the fight. Going over to Tropical Thunder, and with overtime now going, they have to stick to this card like glue.
Yeah, you called it perfectly. DD Ninja, she got way too aggressive. She got caught out by Mag9, and because of that, that really gave an opportunity now for Tropical Thunder to get aggressive. They got aggro, really good Maywall with an Amplification Matrix to just pump out that damage. Vine Balloon died, and now it's looking good for Tropical Thunder. They can keep pushing this payload, and they want to get it as far as they possibly can.
Yeah, but they've got to get through this grab, and they've got to get through the... Oh, that's how you get through the grab right there. You try and shatter 3 of them. Big shatter, that's 6-4. That is massive, Vine Balloon. You absolute monster. You pushed them all off the point as well. That is great gameplay coming out there from the side of Shadow Reaper UWU. They banked all those ults, and they have 5 minutes to get just to the archway there.
Switching sides.
What a huge shatter. That was incredible. And it just meant that everyone was CC'd enough that they wouldn't even be able to touch. You know, you charge them through, boop them all back, and no one's going to be able to touch that payload. And yeah, now, like you said, all you need to do, you've got 5 whole minutes to try and get a full cap and touch the payload. And if Tropical Thunder do what they did on their first defense of just press S and try and win, they might S away from the payload and give Shadow Reaper UWU that cap. So they're going to have to play it perfectly. They cannot fall back here. They've got to play well.
Yeah, they do have to play well. And I mean, if you are the side of Shadow Reaper UWU right now, you're not sweating too much, because you know you can just build up some ultimates, and then you can just get any late kills, and you automatically put them in a disadvantage. Because if you get a late kill and they spawn at a bad spawn, let's say they spawn back at that 3rd point spawn, that's such a long way to try and get back to their team to try and contest just the archway.
Yeah.
You have to be feeling good right now as we see the ball and the Sigma coming out now. This is going to be an interesting change in play styles for the side of Tropical Thunder, and I'm interested to see how it's going to work as they walk forward.
And look at that, so quickly already at point. This is going to be really hard. Oh, Shiro as well taking out Magnite. This is not good, Harry.
It is not good indeed. Shironeko again finds Master with the Helix Rockets on point at the moment with those Helix Rockets. Bruce Rank trying to get as much disruption as he can. That's what they need to do. They need to disrupt, but Vinebaloo with a Fire Strike takes out Shiro, and this could just be it. We could just be seeing the end right now. Jarman goes down, and they can get a cap while any one of these are dead. They will be able to get bad spawn. You need to be really careful if you're faded EXC. You try to jump on the point to not get bad spawn. Can they get it? No! He's going to get bad spawn. This is going to be a 5v6 right now. This is not great if you are Tropical Thunder. And look at it. They're taking the 4 point.
Yeah, they're just falling back here. They're pressing S. But no one is sitting on point. Here we go. Finally, White Ox is getting on, and I have to question that comp they opted. You know, you don't want to bunker up on high ground when you want to defend point here, and because of that, they're in a really stressful situation. D.Va is back now. Faded could try and help out with this fight here.
Yeah, but they've lost a lot of ground right now. Sdogga uses the window right there. Any immortality field to keep Vinebaloo alive, and Bridge Track goes down. This could be it. Great charge now for Vinebaloo, and a shadow coming in. Doesn't really find too much. Finds Master in the hotel there. That was an odd interaction between the walls right there. White Fox goes down, and it's tactical buys from Shironeko, taking out Mag9, Master, and Shiro. And that is going to be Shadow Reaper Uwu taking map 2. Massive turnaround from map 1.
Shironeko, absolute nut on the DPS, and just flanking through that bookshop, getting that 3-man tag visor, really good. Shironeko absolutely deserves this play of the game on Hanzo here. And
it was through the Ant Matrix as well. Oh no.
That is just devastating stuff right there. And now we really do just have to say, maybe it's whoever's on the red team is the aggressor, because so far, first game we watched Forget Me Not be red and be so aggressive all match, and now Tropical Thunder super aggressive on red, and then Shadow Reaper Uwu opted to swap sides there. Tropical Thunder made that decision. They got to choose attack or defense, and with that put Shadow Reaper on that red color. Maybe it's a red color difference.
Yeah, maybe it is indeed. You might be right, but it was such a turnaround, and I think White Fox's playstyle there was way more aggressive than Air was as their last DPS player there. Obviously, that sub coming in very helpful as well. And now looking at the next map, where do you go for Tropical Thunder? Like, you just got kind of royally destroyed on King's Row on a comp that we thought would be your better composition. Where do you go now?
Sounds like they want to go Junkertown. And potentially that's a good shout. You know, there's a lot of comps that you can run here. You can run the Pharmacy. You can run Double Sniper, especially at the start there. There's so much open space. On top of that, it looks like they do have a little bit of play with the Sigma, a little bit of play with the Wrecking Ball. So maybe they want to bring that out here. And I'll be surprised. I'll be quite surprised if Shadow Reaper Uwu, they both like Hog, if they don't play a Hog here. You know, you see a lot of Hogs on Junkertown, even though Hog isn't so hot right now. If they like it, I feel like they'll run it, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like they will run it if they need to. Tropical Thunder, I think, might want to rely on their DPS. But, I mean, Shadow Reaper Uwu just showed that their DPS are also extremely capable, especially Shironeko, who had one of the better performances I've seen in AOL for a while on DPS. Genuinely played extremely well, and giving him another sniper to work with might be rough.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because Shironeko can absolutely play Hanzo here still. So I'll be surprised if it doesn't work out really well for Shironeko and Shironeko doesn't put in a lot of work again. And I guess what I really want to see is not so much falling back. Like I keep going back to it, but that last point on King's Row, they gave up the whole point, and Tropical Thunder just needs to be a bit more aggressive with their defense here, and I think we'll see that same Tropical Thunder that we saw at the start. That's what I'm hoping for. At the same time, Mag9 and Master, they're going to be expected to, get some really good picks, really pop off here, and I'll be excited to see how it changes up now that we're into Junkertown.
Yeah, so I'm expected to see Widowmaker. That's what I'm expecting to see right now. I want to see it. I think Widowmaker can sometimes be really, really fun to watch. Sometimes it can't, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it really just isn't fun, especially if the Widowmaker is just being, kind of dumpstered by a wrecking ball, by a monkey, anything like that. But when a Widowmaker pops off, it is one of the most hype things in Overwatch, and I will constantly say that.
Oh, I agree. Widowmaker's getting headshot after headshot. It's crazy to watch. It's so much fun. So, I expect to see it. And Shironeko is going to be the one that brings it out. Looks like Vine Balloon won the Roadhog fight here. And so it'll be interesting to see if they do opt for that Roadhog. Meanwhile, double shield, that is a classic comp right now. Orisa, Sigma, and then you got that double sniper as well from Mag9 and Master here, so this is going to be very interesting matchup.
Yeah, how much ball do you think Vine Balloon has actually played if he has to, install a patch update every time he plays the game? Do you think he knows Echo exists at the moment?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, exactly right. Fortunately, there's no Echo on this point right now, so the Hog isn't going to get shredded by sticky bombs here. And with this double shield, what you have to do is you have to win this first fight here. Let the payload push for a little bit, but you have to win that fight and then be able to bunker up. And that pick from White Ox could be devastating.
Yeah, White Ox right there just kind of destroying Mag9 a little bit on the Genji here, which is an interesting pick in of itself as well that I don't think we really spoke about too much. You're relying a lot on that blade again, but they're going to have Trans here. They're playing the Zenyatta. Shiro really looking forward to using that Transcendence against the blade just to annoy him, honestly. Shironeko really not getting a lot of value now as we see a little bit of a roll through from Jazz and a great hook onto Beta EXE with the dash. That is so much damage onto the Sigma. It gets taken out immediately. Immortality field used from both sides, but White Ox onto Brood Strike, Jazz onto Shiro, Jazz onto Jarman, and Shironeko taking out Master despite DD Ninja going down. Doesn't seem to really matter, and this Hog is getting a lot of value, as much as I hate to say it.
White Ox is really scary on this Genji. I'm really impressed by White Ox's performance right now on the Genji, knowing when to swift strike, knowing when to get aggressive. Jazz maybe taken down, and there goes Shironeko as well. And wow, maybe a really early hold. Payload is still going to be able to wrap around for a little bit more here. And I mean, I'm just really impressed by the change that we've seen coming through by Shadow Reaper Uwu so far, from looking almost dead in the water to looking so aggressive and dominant. It's really good to see here, and now it's just a matter of continuing that aggression.
Yeah, it really is, and we're going to see Jazz again just trying to get as much disruption as we can. Great Brigida play at the moment, though, from Shiro, and a great amplification matrix taking out Kawasagawa and White Ox as well. Both players down, and that just should signal the end of the push right there.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think this is where that double shield, it looks like maybe they aren't as comfortable as we thought on the rush comp, as now they're playing double shield very well and effectively. Everyone just hiding behind that Orisa shield, and the Sigma shield here gives a lot of value to Mag9, but until Shironeko gets a beautiful headshot initiating the fight.
Yeah, minefield there as well, but Vine Balloon managed to find Master with a hook right there, and a whole Hog to get Bob away as well from the point. That is such smart Hog play right there, as we see Jack just again trying to keep as much disruption on the enemy team as possible, as he's kind of just swinging around on the ball a little bit there. Had a little bit of trouble swinging around. Great hook though onto the Orisa right there, getting a lot of damage, and a bomb goes just in the doorway there with the Graviton Flux. Are they going to be able to get the Transcendence in time? No, they're not. And that is going to be just a team wipe. That is so much damage. so well executed by the side of Tropical Thunder right there. Really well done.
Yeah, and that's where Fortify and Supports really excels, you know. Even though Orisa got hooked, you can Fortify, you can keep your damage reduction up so that they don't get too much value, and then throw out a supercharge and just increase your damage so much, make it really hard for Shadow Reaper UWU to play that aggressive game, and that's where the double shield comes through. Now White Ox is going to try to do the back cap. Is anyone going to notice Mag9's going to be the one?
Yeah,
oh,
no to that.
Too.
No to that. As we see the Dragon Strike, really long range Dragon Strike actually, and it cuts off Jazz a lot. Jazz is stuck in that right room. He swaps over to the Sigma right now, and they're just trying to get, I don't know, spam damage onto that. Shiro Nico actually gets a flank, can find Shiro. That's a really good pick. That is an amazing pick, because now White Ox doesn't have to worry about the Brigida with the Dragon Blade right now. He pulls it right in front of the Amplification Matrix. Manages to find Master, but goes down immediately. Mag9 finds KoalasEsports, and now they're trying to push up. Mag9 does go down to Shironiko, the Hanzo counterpart. Right now, Shironiko is on a tear still on his Hanzo. Takes out Jarman as well. He's still moving forward. Jazz takes out Fear to DXE and Brute Strike, and Shiro pops the rally and goes down immediately. That is a massive mistake coming out from the Brigida of Tropical Thunder.
Wow, that rally is going to be missed here, but once again, just got to talk about Shiro Nico up on this high ground this time. Whilst a lot of the team was dropping, Shiro Nico recognized that opportunity to get up behind the supports and start picking them off. Losing that Baptiste just unlocked it for Jazz to go crazy on the Sigma, just getting 3 picks one after another, and I mean, that's what you want to be doing on the DPS. You want to be finding those supports. You want to be going on a wee cheeky flank, find the support, take them out, and make it so that all of a sudden your tanks and the rest of your team can build value. Dragon Strike splitting up the team.
Yeah, it didn't really get a lot of damage done though. White Ox goes down actually, and Diddy Ninja goes down to Mag9 as well. This has been a really good defense here, and no one's really been pushing the payload right now. As we see Vine Balloon actually getting a hook on the Brute Strike and using a whole hog. I don't know if the whole hog is necessarily needed. I'm pretty sure this fight is lost. Shiro takes out Vine Balloon, and just like that, KoalasEsports should go down eventually. Shiro Nico goes down. KoalasEsports still just hanging around. I think he's just staggering himself out here. So he needs to get out or die. He does get healed by the Zenyatta here. He's actually just having a 1v1 against the Baptiste right here. Uses the immortality field on himself. This is a little game of its own right now. He gets down to the mega health pack, heals himself up, and he's still alive. How have you lived that, KoalasEsports?
Kawa might want that immortality back, but I mean, it was fun to watch. And there's the Dragon Strikes. Kawa finally punished for committing to that fight for so long. And I mean, it was fun to watch, but maybe not valuable, as an Amplification Matrix is going to come out now via Tropical Thunder.
Yeah, but they have no supports now. Diddy Ninja went down to a Dynamite, and Master has just been uncontested on this high ground this whole time. I think it's time for a swap for Shadow Reaper UWU. You did well on the hog and that for a while, but I think now it's time. Maybe swap over to a Winston composition or try and mirror the double shield here, because he needs to contest the high ground. You can't let Master stay up there on that Ash.
Yeah, this Master up on the high ground is pretty devastating, as well as Mag9 on the Hanzo. I mean, it's just such a hard push. You've got to rotate perfectly if you find value in it, and having at least one shield helps. Now we do see the Winston swap from Vine Balloon, and that is exactly what you want to see. You want to see that Winston swap to get aggro, and a good stun's going to come out. Bob initiated to start this fight.
Yeah, there goes KoalasEsports straight away. The Bob actually finds DD Ninja, and a Graviton Block takes out Shiro Nico. White Ox gets taken down by Mag9. Shiro takes down Vine Balloon, and the only person left standing is Jazz, who's just standing on the staircase. Like, guys, hello? Anyone there?
Just wondering what happened to my team. I mean, I think that early pick once again onto Kawa. Losing Kawa early is making it very hard for Shadow Reaper UWU to make these pushes. Here we go, Vine Balloon getting aggro.
Yeah, Vine Balloon getting very aggro, jumping up from the high ground, but they're taken out almost immediately. He couldn't get back into the immortality field. The safety that KoalasEsports provided him wasn't there. They used the lamp. White Ox does take out Jarman, and KoalasEsports did find Mag9, but Jazz went down. Diddy Ninja managed to go down to Shiro, but Shiro pulls the blade anyway. Managed to find Brute Strike, Boom Master, and Shiro. 30XC goes down to KoalasEsports, and that is a team kill for Shadow Reaper UWU. Now they're moving their way forward. They've just launched them off the high ground. This is great play.
That is an incredible decision by Shironeko. Even though it wasn't looking like a winnable fight, they knew they could just perfectly precision that blade, and it's opened it up for a potential cap here.
Yeah, it definitely has. But both damage boosting ultimates are used. The window and the bongos used right there. Shironeko went down to a shotgun in the face. White Fox gets Brood Strike right there. And now they're trying to push in KoalasEsports found Faded EXE. Viballoon found Jarman. He's in the back line. He's got his hands in the cookie jar. And they're going to be able to cap the point straight away. That is insane gameplay coming out from Shadow Reaper UWU to make that quick change and then adapt their game style so effortlessly almost.
Yeah, really smart. These swaps coming through. It's almost like they've been playing Overwatch for such a long time, but it sounds like they don't play it that often. So really good to see that they still keep that play style alive on whatever hero they play. Shadow Reaper UWU putting on a good performance. And the fact they managed to get 3 caps, even overtime, because this is a payload map and not a hybrid. If you get overtime, you get enough time to be able to try and push again. In hybrid, in assault, if you get overtime and they have over a minute, they just have to cap it. They just have to try and get a 1-tick cap. Not the reality with payload maps. So because of that, Shadow Reaper UWU are really happy. And now it comes down to whether they can put on an effective enough defense to stop a 3-point capture, or whether Tropical Thunder are able to be aggressive enough to try and get a better time bank than 0 seconds.
Yeah, and we see Master moving over to that Widowmaker right now, and he's going to have a pretty good time, I think. He's not really got any ranged counterpart on Shadow Reaper UWU to really contest him. Viballoon going back over to the Hog right there. I don't know about this. I think this is a very hit or miss pick. I think if Viballoon is able to hit all the high value hooks in the world, then sure, it works out. But if he's not, I think he's just better off swapping over to Wrecking Ball straight away. As we see Master trying to get that jump shot and the dive composition coming out. This is going to be really difficult to hold on the high ground here for Shadow Reaper UWU. But, I mean, he's just holding back there. We see Diddy Ninja trying to take some pot shots over at Master. And they're trying to just keep this high ground. And there's a dive up. Brood Strike pushing Jazz straight off. And Master finding the headshot on KoalasEsports. That is a great pick to start this off. No Baptiste means no immortality field. Means they can get very, very aggressive. And now he has just free range of that angle. They're taking so much damage, they're not going to be able to sustain, but Mag9 goes down to Shironeko. Shironeko has been absolutely insane so far. Brood Strike just pushing point. Master again. White Ox goes down. That is another high-value pick for the Baptistas back, so they have the heal. Great hook of the Brood Strike right there. And this fight just should be over now. There's no main tank for the side of Tropical Thunder. They can't gain any space. There goes Master. Jarman goes down to Jazz, and that is the fight over.
And this last part of First Point Junkertown is actually where Hog gets a lot of value. There's so much open space to try and just get a couple of good hooks, and once you get 1 or 2 and get that pick, it becomes so difficult for Tropical Thunder to do anything really. So whilst it looks like it was all in the way of Tropical Thunder, Viballoon being this Roadhog is very valuable here. Nano now onto Mag9. Is it going to do anything?
Yes, it is. Yes. He gets the stick onto KoalasEsports. He does go down to DD Ninja, though. That is great play from the Zenyatta, and a great hook onto Faded EXE. Takes the Diva out of the mech right there. We see the Infraside coming out now from the side of Master, but a Transcendence now used to try and counteract any of the damage coming through. Master does find White Ox, but does get hooked and goes down to Viballoon. A whole hog used as well, just to kind of desecrate the body, I guess. There was really no excuse for it. And that is
it was a celebratory one.
It's going to be the fight with for Shadow Reaper UWU again. They're not really having a lot of luck here, Tropical Thunder.
Yeah, it looks like what Shadow Reaper UWU are relying on is just each player getting 1 or 2 picks, really just playing it perfectly. And now with this wraparound, this path thing coming through by Tropical Thunder, I'm liking to see it. They're playing really aggro, getting up onto the high ground here.
Yeah, they are playing very aggro, and they get KoalasEsports again. But, I mean, it hasn't really been too much of a hindrance in the past, but Mag9 finds Shironeko. That has been a hindrance. Viballoon goes down, but White Ox just finds Jarman. Shiro finds DD Ninja, and it's just going to be Jazz and White Ox kind of hanging around here. White Ox might try a high noon from the back line. I'd question it a lot if he does.
Yeah, you probably don't want to use your ults here. Let them cap, go next, GG go next, and that looks like it's exactly what's going to happen here. And the ults are looking a little bit more in favor of Shadow Reaper UWU here now, because they've got the tech visor, they've got the Deadeye. Sure, there is a bit of a self-destruct and a amplification matrix, but if they just use these ultimates precisely, they should be able to get a good hold here.
Yeah, they should. They're doing so much shield damage as well, and there's so much more high ground as well. So they're just able to stay up there. FadeEXE has got his work cut out for him if he's able to block all of this damage coming out. As you see, Whiteox is just taking a little off angle. Immortality Field's already been used. High Noon trying to get used. But I mean, FadeEXE just flew into him. It doesn't really matter because Jazz took out Shiro with the flux itself, and Kawasagawa took out his counterpart in Jarman. And that's the fight win straight away for Shadow Reaper UWU. Just one ultimate used, two ultimates used, basically. Oh no, Kawasagawa! He got baited into it!
Oh no, that's not good. Vine Balloon gonna try find a little bit of value here, but it looks like Tropical Thunder, they're gonna get aggro with an amplification matrix coming out early.
I like the idea, but I think it was just really badly placed here. They are going to be able to find DD Ninja, though. Jarman finding that kill. And without Zenyatta, that's a lot of damage missing. And Kawasagawa getting picked off early means they don't have a lot of healing. So they might try and get aggressive on the tanks here, which is exactly what they're trying to do. But they can't really do it. There's not enough damage with no Reaper and no McCree there. No, Cassidy there, sorry. And Vimelin gets the hook on Shiro straight away. And that is going to be the Lucio down. Oh, coming out now. Master uses the Death Blossom. He gets boosted up to Whiteox. Jazz takes out Jarman. Brute Strike goes down to Shiro Nico. And FadeEXE, despite using the self-destruct, should eventually go down. Jazz takes out Master. And that is going to be the end of that fight. That was a bizarre fight.
I loved that. Out comes a Death Blossom and Vibe Balloon's just like, I may be a balloon, but you're the one going in the sky. Whole hogs them all the way up. Get out of my face. That was so good to see. And a really creative use of a hog ult as well. Really just pushing the Reaper away. And I think that's what won them the fight. That Death Blossom was going to be so much more valuable if it stayed there and got two more players. But because it got pushed away, it's given them a bit of a defense here.
That's a great amplification matrix. Really well placed right there. High Noon, actually. I don't think Brute Strike knew about it. That was really interesting. Great hook from Vine Balloon. His hooks have been absolutely insane this game. And Mag9 getting a little consolation prize and taking out Whiteox, but going down to DD Ninja in the end.
Yeah, DD. She's actually doing really good on this Zenyatta, and I'm really enjoying to watch it. The Discord orbs as well have been so critical in just confirming a couple of kills, and especially when there's a Discord orb and then an amplification matrix, that's so much damage. It's so hard to stay alive when all of that's coming through. So really good to see these supports playing very well. Once again, I'm liking this rotation, but it does get called out early this time by Shadow Reaper UWU.
It does get caught out very early, and the Graviton block's being used. It's just a shadow onto the Baptiste and onto the Roadhog, but it doesn't matter. Shirineko popped the tactical visor in the background and managed to get Jarman and Master. Jazz finds Mag9, and it really doesn't matter. That Transcendence was too much healing for anyone to overcome. 10 seconds left on the point, and I think this is a map going over the Shadow Reaper UWU. Indeed, it is. Great map.
Wow. Once again, they are looking so good now. They've really woken up. I think maybe they thought they had air on their team. Maybe they thought they were playing Apex for a little bit. Then they've realized now what game they're playing, and they've really woken up here. It's really good to see. And I mean, I'm really impressed by like how well Shadow Reaper UWU have just changed over how they're playing now.
Yeah, it really has just been incredible watching them turn it around like that. I think they were lulling us all into a false sense of security in that first map. That must be what it is. They say don't wake sleeping giants, and I feel like we have woken Shadow Reaper UWU. Going into this next map, again, what do you do for Tropical Thunder? Because you've just exercised the only option that we thought might be available for them. Get them off of the rush. We thought maybe the rush might not be there, might not be the good idea. They got them off the rush, and it didn't work.
Yeah, they got them off the rush and Vine Balloon onto the hog. Vine Balloon getting pick after pick. But once again, we just have to talk about Shiro Nico being so consistent on DPS, because sometimes the biggest flaw in a DPS is they'll play a hero and then they'll get 1 or 2 picks and win a fight, but then next fight they'll do nothing, and it'll be like 3 fights before they get another good round. But Shiro Neko seems to be completely consistent, managing to get 1 or 2 picks consistently, and then it just opens up the way for Shadow Reaper to just continue pushing and being aggressive. Now we're moving to Temple of Anubis here, Harry.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a Sharoneko game playground, I'll be honest. Yeah. I think this might just be the playground for him because he has been insane on every hero, especially Hanzo, though. And I think that Temple of Anubis is just such a good Hanzo map. You're really going to struggle if you are Tropical Thunder against that. You've struggled already this series. I think putting him on a map where it is even better than, say, Junkertown, it's going to be very difficult, I think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Maybe we're going to see something like a pharmacy come out. I don't even know. Like, we haven't seen a Pharah come through just yet, so I'm not very sure what the call for Temple of Anubis was when it does look like a Sharoneko playing ground. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully Broodstrike and Faded, maybe they can just opt to be that aggressive rush and just really push on through. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm a little bit lost for words right now with Tropical Thunder, how they've looked so good and then it's just changed. I mean, they did look better in Junkertown. Don't get me wrong, that was a much better performance. They did manage to push it through first point and they gave us a good show. And especially on defense, they pushed Shadow Reaper Uwu to overtime caps. But they need to find something more inside themselves, and maybe it's a matter of Master running the Soldier now, matching Shironeko and Soldier, because they do like to play the Soldier. And I don't know how much Ashe we've seen so far. I think we saw a little bit, but maybe a little bit more. You know, play your comfort picks and see if that's gonna unlock the fight for you.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of Ashe in Junkertown, especially on that third point. We saw Master doing quite well on it, actually.
Yes, that's right.
Honestly, I would have liked to see a Winston Sombra comp come out there. Like, I don't understand their unwillingness to play Sombra because I think it plays so well into the Sigma and Roadhog composition. Instead, they tried to play with the Tracer and the Widowmaker. I don't think you have enough frontline damage to take out the Hog there. I think the Hog just sustains and stays alive and does its damage and gets the hooks. I think Sombra is definitely the way to play here if you are Tropical Thunder at the moment. And I would like to see them rely on it a little bit more, as it looks like we might go into more of a brawl mirror, though, which we all saw the results of that on King's Row.
Yeah, we could see a little bit of difference, though, here. I mean, King's Row, it is that payload map, whereas now we do see Tropical Thunder having those points that they know they can play around, and if we saw what they did in Control and they keep that up, we might see something very similar to our first map. It might just be payloads aren't their thing here, and now that they've got a point to protect, they might be able to play it perfectly. And I like this high.
Look at this. Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, I like it too, especially because there's a Widowmaker on the other side. The Widowmaker actually might have just scouted it out. So we might not even see it. No, White Ox is going to get caught out. No, it's all fallen to pieces. They didn't really get anyone though, but they're still pushing in. They might be able to get in on this. And the Widowmaker doesn't really have sightlines for it, so they're just going to keep pushing onto the tanks here. But they're able to stay alive. This is great healing from KoalasEsports and great work from DD Ninja to be able to use the speed boost at the right time. KoalasEsports has gone up onto the high ground here to try and keep his team alive. But Vine Balloon falls. Master managing to get that kill. KoalasEsports is still on the high ground. He actually managed to get Jarman. He managed to get his counterpart. Master doesn't know where he is. KoalasEsports gets Master as well. He's just stayed on that high ground for so long and managed to get both. This is absolutely insane gameplay from the Baptiste. He is taking matters into his own hands. He gets Shiro as well. KoalasEsports, you monster. Immortality field use. Takes out the Diva. That's a 4K for the Baptiste.
Wow. Kawa just absolutely dominant on Baptiste right there. The third DPS for Shadow Reaper, and oh my gosh, what an incredible play. I'm actually just lost for words by just that pure precision there, and that unlocks the point with 5 minutes 45 seconds. And I mean, it is a classic assault. The respawn advantage is massive for Tropical Thunder right now, but it's looking pretty tough.
Yeah, it is. As we see, the tech buys are actually coming out already. Lamp has been forced out, and Master does get onto White Off. We see the amplification matrix used on the high ground just with Kawa, which I don't blame him after his performance on first point. Vine Balloon does get the pin onto Mag9, but Brute Strike pays him back for that. Brute Strike also takes out Shiro, Neko, and Jazz. Jazz with the self-destruct does catch onto Jarman, and a beat is invested by DD Ninja. I don't know about that. That might have been a bit of a mistake from the side of Shadow Reaper UWU, but Kawasagawa is still there, trying to get a little bit more value before they back out, but it is going to be a little bit of a hold. One tick was given up in the end, though.
Has Kawasagawa actually been the hidden gem that we've been missing this whole time? They've been playing Baptiste quite a bit here, and I mean, they're doing very well. They're keeping their team alive a lot. They're also obviously really good in helping out with that DPS, and maybe Kawasagawa is doing enough damage that Shiro Neko just needs to finish off the players. I mean, it's sort of hard to tell at this moment here, but that could be what we've been missing as we see our next push in.
Yeah, that was such a good play, actually, coming out from the side of Tropical Thunder there. They played passive enough to just be able to get the ult up there, and then they capitalized with the ult advantage as Master manages to get Kawasagawa. BDXC gets Vine Balloon, and Jarman got DD Ninja. That's going to be a back out straight away for Shadow Reaper UWU. And this is looking to be a much better defense on the second point here for Tropical Thunder.
Yeah, a tick has been given up for Shadow Reaper UWU, but I mean, as long as you can just keep that time bank going down, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Any sort of value for Tropical Thunder is good value here, and it's going to come down to this ult difference right now. Tropical Thunder, they've got so many ults available. Amplification Matrix coming up both sides.
Yeah, Mag9 is getting a headshot onto DD Ninja straight away. That is so bad for the side of Shadow Reaper UWU. In fact, the Shadow comes down now. Vine Balloon gets taken out by Brood Strike, and that was just a little bit of a maintain difference. We did see White Ox using the Tactical Visor, and I think it's time to swap off the Soldier here. I don't think you're getting enough value on the Soldier Tracer pick right now to be able to justify it. In fact, we do see it. White Ox going over to the Reaper, and Jazz getting staggered out a little bit, as you do on D.Va.
Yeah, the poor Divas always get that stagger. It's very sad to see here. But Jazz is now coming back into the fight, and they've got self-destruct ready. So there's self-destructs on either side, and I think that could be key. If Jazz can land a really good self-destruct to open up this fight, maybe just even push them a point, they could start to get really aggro, and Shadow Reaper might be able to take this fight. So keep an eye on that self-destruct. I think that's going to be an important piece to this fight.
And again, Shiro Neko goes down almost immediately. And look at this. They're so scared of entering a fight without Shiro Neko that they just back out immediately. There's nothing that they want to do without Shiro Neko. I think that shows a lot of reliance. And we see Shiro Neko actually just going, you know what? Maybe Tracer isn't the right pick here. I'm going up to the Cassidy.
And I mean, they've been good at Cassidy. They've been good at a lot of heroes that they choose. So I think the call to swap is a good call. But now, ultimate. Oh, okay. Fire Strike.
Yeah, Fire Strike through the Amplification Matrix, taking out the Baptiste there is really big. Master actually getting killed as he uses his Death Blossom, but Vine Balloon got pinned through the self-destruct right there and gets taken down. Now we see a self-destruct coming out from the side of Jazz, and a beat from DD Ninja. They're trying to push in onto it. They want this fight to be the one they win. Shiro Neko gets Jarman, and they're trying to push on onto the tanks now. Brewmaster falling very, very low. Brew Strike goes down. BDXC gets D-Mech, but Shiro managed to find Shiro Neko in the backline. White Fox managed to take out two, and a great E from Jazz onto the Blizzard. Mag9's Blizzard gobbled up by the defense matrix right there, and they're going to try and hold it. Is anyone going to be able to touch? It doesn't look like it. Jarman can't get there. That is great clutch play coming up from Jazz.
Yeah, that eat onto the Blizzard was crucial there. Just making sure that they rapidly got pick after pick as well. Because, I mean, the classic thing about any assault map, about 2CP in general, is that spawn advantage. So the fact they were able to rapidly take out every single player before someone could respawn and recontest was really well done by Shadow Reaper UWU there. And it's also a bit of a testament to that one tick they got earlier. Because of that one tick, they just needed 2, and so it came through so much quicker than 3 ticks would. So very well done by Shadow Reaper UWU. 1:36 on the clock, and if all they need to do is just try and either full hold or last minute defend second point, and that will be the series going to Shadow Reaper UWU.
Yeah, it definitely will. And we see Master actually hovering over that Symmetra. So we might see a little bit of a repeat from map 1. We did see that Shadow Reaper UWU kind of struggled playing around the Symmetra in map 1. And so maybe this is the adaptation that they needed to bring themselves back into this series and make it to a map 5. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with the Mei.
Yeah, I think it'll be very good and very telling if this Symmetra comes through, that maybe Symmetra was that key for them to unlock it. Hopefully they don't use it just as a quick teleport out, and no, they don't. Good. Now they're going to be able to make some really good paths. You know, you can teleport either straight onto point, you can go through the left room and then teleport up into that window and start pushing through their spawn. Looks like they're opting to teleport just straight onto point. It's going to make it really hard for Shadow Reaper to be aggressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. And look at that, they've already got a tick and a half right there. And there's no Reaper in the fight right now. He had to use his bait to get out. And Shiraneko actually finds Mag9. That's a great pick. The Mei is no longer on the field. You don't have to worry about the Mei wall. Now we see the pin from Vine Balloon. Vine Balloon, sorry. As he gets counter pinned. But it's just a cleanup now for Shadow Reaper UWU as they just walk forward and just kind of decimate the team. There was no Mei to stop any of that aggression with the Mei wall.
And this is a little bit like what we saw on King's Row. Shadow Reaper UWU, they know they can give up one tick and then just find a little bit of damage and then call out that damage and just run over them. And that's exactly what we're seeing, you know. They just get enough damage onto 1 or 2 people and then just call to collapse them completely. And that's what happened to Brood Strike. Losing Brood Strike really unlocked that fight for them. So we'll see whether this next push is going to be of any value.
Yeah, we definitely will. Actually, it's already the Fade and the Teleport used straight away, and the Amplification Matrix, not really in the greatest of positions. And now we see an Amplification Matrix from the other side. Kasagawa really wants to use this just to do damage right now. This is Shiraneko using the High Noon, but it is going to be Master going down to Jazz. Jazz, in fact, finding Brood Strike as well. Now they're just pushing into it. There's this great play coming out from the side of Shadow Reaper UWU, hiding that aggression, hiding the Amplification Matrix that was on the high ground, and just cleaning up the point when they needed to. It is so difficult right now for the side of Tropical Thunder to actually get anything done.
Yeah, that was a really hard push because there were some people on high ground, some people who had dropped down, and because of that, Shadow Reaper UWU, they just decided, you know what, let's collapse over the people who have dropped off the high ground. They got those 2 picks, and then there was nothing left for Tropical Thunder. Now they're opting to take the classic sort of left room fight, and hopefully this push with that Mei will get a bit more value.
Yeah, but both beats are being used, and that's a big flashbang. 3 people stunned up straight away. We actually see it teleport into the back of the line from White Ox. Now he uses his bait. He does have that Death Blossom available if he wants to use it. Immortality Field has already been forced out now. Jarman really needed that ability. Immortality Field now from the other side. Shadow gets blocked, and a High Noon now coming out. Manages to take out Jazz from the mech, but he uses self-destruct to keep him alive. Jarman did find Vine Balloon as the Amplification Matrix on the high ground from Kasagawa. Chased down by Fading EXE on the high ground though, and Master finds DD Ninja. White Ox does manage to find Master in the end, and they're still able to get to this point. Maybe a little bit longer if they want to. No, they're going to give that up, and it's 4 minutes 10 left on the clock.
Now this could be interesting. Having Jazz and White Ox so stuck in this backline here, they're gonna have to try and get out. And if they live long enough that they don't get that respawn, then die, that could be devastating here. As you can see, the snowball starting to take effect. Self-destruct coming out.
Yeah, they're already straight onto it. Self-destruct manages to find DD Ninja, and it's Brood just going straight into the backline. He actually managed to charge Vine Balloon straight away. Shatter into the backline, managed to find both, but Brood Strike went down. He overextended a little bit. Shiraneko went down as well. It's 2 ticks now at the side, but it's a Blizzard coming out from Mag9. They're trying to keep them off the point. They're so close to getting there. It's White Ox, no! White Ox with a 3-man Death Blossom keeps Shadow Reaper in this map.
Look how close that was to a cap there. I thought it was going to look all Tropical Thunder, but then White Ox came through last second, got ice walled up, and then decided, you know what, I'm standing on this ice wall, I'm pressing the Death Blossom, I'm dropping down onto you and taking you all out, and that's exactly what happened there. And now whilst there's only one tick left for Tropical Thunder, with the spawn advantage, it's going to be really hard of a push, especially if they are able to play as well as they have been on this defense, just managing to take 1 or 2 picks here. It's anyone's game.
Yeah, it is anyone's game. Huge shadow coming out straight away. That is the playmaking skills you need. KoalasEsports managed to take a brute strike, and White Ox found Jarman. But Vine Balloon is the one leading the charge right now. Huge shadow to start that fight off him. 2 ultimates used. That is an efficient defense, and that's what you need. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. You really need to get this going if you're Tropical Thunder.
Yeah, you Shadow Reaper want to burn off that time bank as much as possible, and with that wipe there, it's going to mean that this time bank is going to look very even if Tropical Thunder do manage to get the cap here. They need to push in quickly. They've got a sound barrier to be aggressive, but with the Deadeye and a self-destruct, it's going to be hard.
Sdogga just used the Immortality field on themselves because they got hit by a fire strike. Now it's a beat engaged. Beat from the other side, no, but Mag9 found White Ox before it can even come in. Hino coming out now from the side. Self-destruct comes in to break the Immortality field from Jarman, and it's going to be Vine Balloon just taking a little bit of stock on the point right now. Just up Mag9. That is a really bad pick if you're a Tropical Thunder. You lose a lot of your damage. Hino now coming out from the side of Master, but they found Shiro. It doesn't even matter now. They're going to be able to push in without a lot of that damage being there. It's going to be windows from both sides, but Vine Balloon takes that Jarman, and White Ox found Brute Strike. Jet finds Master in the back line, and it's going to be FadeDXC being debacked and staggered out. FadeDXC is just sitting there. He knows.
Oh no. Poor Faded. This is the sad life of a Diva player. You are going to get staggered even if you can get the remake. They're just going to kill you just like that. And now there's a minute 20. There's probably a second fight here, and with 1 tick remaining, it's going to come down to Faded's self-destruct, I believe, to try to open up this fight, as well as a Shatter. Brute Strike and Faded, they're going to have to play perfectly, but White Ox has showed us their Death Blossoms are big, and they've nearly got it, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Oh yeah, at the moment, you've got to keep an eye out for Brute Strike. Shadow right now, as you see the self-destruct coming in. They missed the pin, but they managed to get Vine Balloon. The Immortality build wasn't there, but White Ox gets 3! White Ox might have just won the game for Shadow Reaper. UWU! They managed to get the kill onto Shironiko, though. Jarman did go down to Shironiko beforehand. KoalasEsports is still on the high ground. KoalasEsports, can you do it again? Yes, you can. You take out Mag9, you take out Blood Strike. It is 30 seconds left. One more fight.
We're probably going to see, I assume we're going to see a Wrecking Ball swap and just trying to get to point as quick as possible. No, we're not going to see it. They're opting to try and boost the team in as quickly as possible, but with the Shatter available and a Deadeye, it's going to be really hard to walk through. Mag9 is going to feel confident, though, with this Death Blossom. They've seen big ones. Deadeye's coming out now.
Yeah, Deadeye might just keep on my point. Someone's going to touch point. It's they get there. They managed to get there. It's Shiro who gets onto point, and they lose KoalasEsports. That is a big pick right there. They might have thrown it. It's a shadow. Both tanks go down. FadeDXC did find Shironiko, though. Jarman did go down to DD Ninja, and Mag9 found Vine Balloon, and Poo Master found White Ox. KoalasEsports, though, came back and managed to find Master. Immortality field on the point, keeping their tanks alive right now. Blood Strike trying to charge, doesn't really get there. It's a sound barrier now coming out from the side of Tropical Thunder. They're trying to stay in this fight, but Brute Strike going down is not the way they want to do this. Mag9 does find Jazz, D-Max them, but Vine Balloon is back. He's swinging away now, trying to get FadeDXC out of the mech. But it's KoalasEsports again, managing to find Mag9. They're still trying to keep Vine Balloon alive. Shiro takes down Vine Balloon, and they're turning back onto the point. Immortality field is being used. Shiro Nika takes the Jarman. FadeDXC goes down, but FadeDXC and Baby Live 4-5 DD Ninja before going down to White Ox. They're still in this fight right now. On the high ground, they don't touch the point. That is going to be Shadow Reaper UWU winning the series and winning the map.
Wow, that was so good in terms of stall by Shadow Reaper UWU, and one of the big things that happened in that last minute stall was Jarman fell early. Because of that, it was only Lucio heals from Shiro to try and keep Tropical Thunder alive, and then not having enough healing. Even though Jarman came back on the Moira, there just wasn't enough healing to keep Brood Strike alive, and Brood Strike fell during that sort of attempt to fight. Losing Brood Strike was a critical key, and I mean, Shadow Reaper managed to take the series 3-1, and it was such an entertaining matchup. I mean, Shadow Reaper UWU, they looked like they were really not going to be able to put up a fight on our first map here, but then they managed to find something with them themselves. Shironiko especially woke up and got so aggressive, and I'm just so impressed by Shironiko.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by Shiraneko and KoalasEsports, but I mean, Shiraneko was consistently like noticed throughout that game. So if we're giving an MVP away for Shadow Reaper UWU, it definitely has to be Shiraneko for me. It was just way too consistent a performance to ignore right there. Although we do have to give that massive shout out to KoalasEsports for not only being the hardest name to pronounce in the world, but also just being such a good support in those moments. Like having that clutch potential as a support is massive. And to get a 4K on the first point to open it up for your team in a fight that looked lost, that's incredible. So definitely a piece that you want to look at for Shadow Reaper in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. They, Shiraneko and KoalasEsports were both very, very good players. And honestly, I think you're absolutely right, hitting the nail on the head there. They both played out of their minds, and I'm just very impressed, especially by Shiraneko. I wish I could play DPS like that. We've had two incredible series on our hands today. We had Forget Me Not versus Wendigo, Forget Me Not going 3-0, and then we were just graced by the wonderful Tropical Thunder versus Shadow Reaper UWU taking it 3-1. Thank you all so much for coming out. It has been a great night. We've had some great Overwatch games here, and we've got a few thank yous on our hands here. Big thank you to the event producers, AOEsports. We got Bloodborne, Get, and Papadaka. We've got, of course, Koalas Esports, Sdogga and Bees. Thank you guys so much for being the producers of this event. The event coordinators in Papadaka and Sdogga. Big thank you to our streamer Temporal today for streaming the match and making it so that we can bring this to you. Of course, there's the casters, Harry B and myself. Thank you for listening to us talk about Overwatch. The stream technical assistance of Gat, Temporalic, Sdogga, and of course, a big thank you to our patrons. You guys are what make this stream live. You guys are what makes the stream happen. So big thank you to the patrons. And you can check out our Patreon if you would like. And once again, just a special thanks to AOE, GAT, Papadaka, KE, the players, everyone in the KE community, and everyone watching the stream. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Yeah.